Hello to all my dear subscribers. How are you all doing? I saw all the support you gave to the last video, so today I bring you the second season of What if Naruto fell in love with Sasuke and pretended to be weak? As always, if you want to see a continuation, leave your subscription, like, and comment. Now then, enjoy.
It had been 2 weeks since the Bell test. Team 7 had been doing nothing but D-ranked missions, and the only thing a bit useful that they had done was the little training in between the missions that they had done. A certain little Uchiha girl had enough of the easy work. Their talents were being wasted on picking weeds, helping with laundry, or trying to find lost pets. That might have been fine for the rest of the team, but for Sasuke, it was a disgrace. Especially the catching Tora the cat mission. Let me go, Naruto. That idiotic cat have to be dead for every genin generation's sake. Calm down, Sasuke. Although I understand your feeling, we can't kill her as she is the pet that Fire Demio's wife loves so much, and we won't want to get themselves into some trouble with him. Naruto remarked while he was trying to keep the raven-haired girl, whose face was covered in scratch marks, from barbecuing the cat by her fire jutsus. Ribbon on its left ear? Are you sure it's Tora? Kakashi questioned. Sasuke glared at the little beast, disliking how cozy it looked in Shino's arms. Yeah, we're sure. Good. Lost pet, Tora mission complete. Kakashi giggled as Tora continued to purr loudly and rub herself all over the Abiram's hand when he stroked her. That's not an animal, that's a demon. Sasuke still had the bitter memories of the first time they went after that wretched cat. She could still feel the pain from the scratches it gave her face. On the way to come back the Hokage Tower, Naruto and Kakashi were between Shino and Sasuke. For the cat's safety, as the Uchiha girl didn't stop shooting her dirty glare and snarling at Tora, the Hokage Tower. Well, I see you managed to bring back Tora. Again, the Sandaime said. Hopefully for the last time. Sasuke growled. They handed the cat over to the owner, who happened to be the Fire Daimyo's wife. As she started to squeeze it to nearly to death, the trio felt sorry for the cat. But that didn't stop the Uchiha girl from letting out an evil grin after all the hell it caused them, especially her pretty face. Naruto and Kakashi sweat dropped when they saw her expression. Once the lady left with the suffering cat, the Sandaime began to look at the mission scroll. Well, you three have completed missions at an amazing rate, especially Naruto with the use of his shadow clone plan. Thanks to it, D-rank missions have gone down drastically in Konoha, he said, and the said boy gave a big toothy smile while scratching the back of his head. All right, we have prepared your list of D-rank missions for today. He wasn't surprised to see the Uchiha girl get a sour expression. We are tired of these useless D-ranks. They are wasting our time and abilities. Give us a real mission where we can actually get some experience. Sasuke huffed in an annoyed tone. Irika stood up to reprimand her. Sasuke, you are just barely graduated ninja from the academy. You aren't ready for combat yet. That's why we give you D-ranks to gather experience. Before Sasuke could protest, Naruto stood next to his best friend and placed a hand to her shoulder to calm her down. The blonde boy looked the Hokage and his former teacher, Gigi, Irika-sensei, giving a genin team lots of D-rank missions are not helping their skills improve, and so we would like to request a mission that would challenge us and help with our ninja training, he said calmly. In addition, we have Kakashi-sensei. After all, he isn't an elite jounin for nothing, Naruto said, and which shocked everyone. Kakashi was so happy when his favorite student placed his truth in him. Thank you, Naruto. I'm sure I will not disappoint you and your teammates. The Hokage smiled at Naruto's response with Irika. The blonde boy was grown more thoughtful. As his father, fine, I will give you a C-rank mission that just came in today, to see if you really do have the skills needed to take the next step up. It's an escort mission to the Land of Waves. Send the client in. They all turned to view the door as it slowly slid open, revealing a drunken old man as he fumbled through the doorway. This is my escort? It's just a bunch of kids. Sasuke lost her smile but just remembered it was better to wait rather than get angry, especially the blonde with the stupid-looking face. Are you really a ninja? Hey! Okay, screw it. Sasuke didn't care anymore. She would slaughter this old drunk. Naruto sighed in annoyance, his first C-rank mission with a drunk man. He had distaste experience with drunks, so he didn't really like them. However, he was still the client, and the Uzumaki knew he should do something when he noticed the murderous look Sasuke was throwing to the old man. She looked ready to kill him on his spot. And yet, the temperature in the air got colder and a devilish aura could be felt in the room. The blonde boy sighed as he realized the chakra of the source. Is that a mistake that Gigi let her watching me in the shadow? Man, this old man may not leave here without in pieces. Naruto put a hand on Sasuke's shoulder, making her stiffen and glance at him from the corner of her eye. Naruto shook his head minutely. Sasuke scowled at that. Why was he even too nice to the unworthy one? I assure you that all three of them are trained ninja. And I'm their teacher, so I'll be tagging along too. After seeing Kakashi and with his reply, the man seemed to be almost comforted. Almost. Okay. I am the super expert bridge builder Tazuna. I expect you to provide me with super protection until I get back to my country and complete the bridge. Tazuna said in a shaking tone. He seemed a little nervous. Kakashi sighed at the ferocious glare his female genin was still sending to the old man. He heard about the boy's protection of the Uchiha clan. The silver-haired jounin also knew who released the devilish aura, and it sent a chill down his spine. Rumors of a black guardian angel of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki were still spread in the ANBU department, plus the fact some anti-Kyuubi shinobi and mobs were sent to the hospital while they were screaming as if they went through worse nightmares or were beaten the shit out of or were burned by fire jutsu. It wasn't very difficult for Kakashi to guess. Luckily, she wasn't allowed to go with them in their mission, but there was still her little sister here, and she looked overly protective of his blonde student. This is going to be a Luong mission. The next morning, Kakashi observed as his squad converged on the gate. Tazuna waited impatiently at the gate, tapping his foot on the dirt and taking the occasional swig of his cheap ale. The jounin sighed. This trip would most definitely be a long one. Oi! Are you sure these kids are cut out to be ninja? They look pretty puny to me. Tazuna spouted as Naruto and the others gathered to stand near Kakashi. Sasuke eyed the old man with annoyance while Shino and Naruto feigned indifference. Kakashi scratched the back of his head and patted the Uchiha heiress in an attempt to ease her. They are all qualified, I assure you. These three are also the prodigies in Konoha. One Uchiha and one adhering, while the other is smart as a whip. Tazuna looked them over again and shrugged. Whatever, the names don't mean anything to me. Just as long as they can do their job. Sasuke growled angrily, but she got poked in the side by Naruto. He just shook his head and began to follow Kakashi and Tazuna as they left the village. Shino quickly brought up the rear as the five began to travel along the dirt road, on their long trip to Wave. The silence became unnerving for a while as Tazuna seemed to have his thoughts elsewhere and Kakashi was trying to enjoy the stroll. Naruto and Sasuke had been walking close together but had little to say, as nothing much had happened. The raven-haired girl's thoughts drifted back to her mother and sister, and a wave of nervous washed over her now. When Sasuke told them of their mission to Wave, they was very happy and helped her prepare everything for leaving. But Sasuke saw a moment of worry and anxiety impact on them at first. This is the first time I go out of the village without going with Okasan or One-chan. It was the truth. Sasuke didn't usually travel outside the village. She also just went with her mother on the rare occasions when she wanted to go somewhere to relax, and those places were not too far from the village. Now she had to leave for the first mission in an island which was about 1 or 2 days away. And no Mikoto in here. Naruto saw his best friend's nervous face and patted her head, jolting her awake. To Sasuke's annoyed face, he chuckled a little. Don't worry so much, Haim. We will be done with this mission fast, and then come back home to see Oba-san and Nei-chan. By the way, I'm here with you. Sasuke was surprised he knew why she was nervous. Am I that easy to read? She mumbled. Naruto just shook his head in amusement. For now, just try and enjoy the trip. It's our first time outside the village in a true mission, you know. Sasuke nodded. That was true. Shino advanced from the rear of the group to match Kakashi's speed. The jounin noticed his presence and looked down at him in curiosity. Something wrong, Shino? The bug user looked at his sensei before asking his question. Tazuna-san is from Wave, correct? Tazuna grumbled in recognition. Yeah, what's it to you, kid? Shino ignored him instead for Kakashi. Wave has no ninja. Is that correct, sensei? Kakashi hummed in approval and looked in the sky. That's correct, Wave has no ninja. Because they are on an island and isolated from the rest of the world, they don't require ninja to defend them from another country's influence. On the flip side of that though, when trouble hits, they must hire ninja from another nation like the Land of Fire's Konoha. The three genin took the information in from their sensei's lesson and Tazuna remained quiet. Because this is a C-rank mission, we will only have to deal with a highwayman or bandits. Were you worried about foreign shinobi, Shino? The adhering remained quiet and began to fall back behind Kakashi. No, but I like to be prepared. Tazuna's eyes flickered to Kakashi and then back to the ground. Naruto noticed the man seemed to be nervous about something. He had a theory, but he decided to go silence and let his sensor do everything. Sasuke continued to walk alongside him, albeit with little vigor, with her hands in her pockets and head to the sky. Sometimes she glanced at Naruto, and she couldn't help herself blushing a little. What the hell was happening to her? The group continued to walk along the dirt paths, the sun beating down on the ninjas' unprotected heads. It had been sunny nonstop, and one could feel the heat waves roil off the ground. Tazuna wiped some sweat from his brow as the ninja continued on, unaffected by the heat for the most part. Shino would occasionally send a few bugs out ahead of the group or to their flanks to check for anything, but each time the bugs would come quietly back with nothing to report. The adhering did not enjoy the quiet of the mission so far, and even though he knew the mission wasn't designed to be fraught with danger, his father taught him to always look past face value and be prepared for anything. That was why he was sending his bugs out, from his own nervousness. Kakashi could sense the bug user's unease, but felt that as the mission progressed, Shino would calm down. The worrying would wear on him if he allowed it to continue, and it wasn't healthy for a young ninja, no matter how difficult the mission was. A ninja would learn to face each challenge with calm, so they could think clearly and counter any situation. With Naruto and Sasuke, the blonde boy was passing his time by speaking with his tenant, while the girl next to him merely tried to enjoy the breeze of the walk. Kurama, how much longer do you think it would be wise to keep you a secret from Sasuke? The fox hummed in thought before answering. Keep it secret until you feel that you can trust her with your secret. I can tolerate her and her family, but there's still that woman's descendants. Kurama said with an annoyed tone. Naruto sighed, the Kyuubi with his ego for Uchihas. Although I don't like the way you think about the Uchiha clan now, I guess you're right that I should keep it a secret longer. I don't want to endanger her with this. Naruto glanced at the Uchiha girl, and I also don't want her to hate me, but I don't like hiding her so much at the same time. Suddenly, a bit farther down the road, Naruto felt a prickling feeling on the back of his mind. It was as if he could feel someone's malice. All his life, he had felt the killing intent of many people, both civilians and shinobi alike, so the feeling of malice was no mistake. Kakashi sent a lazy glance toward the water but gave no other hint of alarm. Shino's bugs began to chatter as they sensed chakra their master hadn't declared as off-limits. When the group passed, the puddle let loose a single ripple as two shinobi slowly rose from within. They had been waiting for the group to walk by for a while now, having ran ahead of them after following them from Konohagakure. We'll take the Jounin down first, Meizu, one of demon brothers of Kirigakure, said with hidden glee. His brother Gozu, who hung from his back, nodded. Right behind you. Meizu broke into a sprint, followed by Gozu detaching from his back and running parallel. Shino stood motionless as the two passed him, their chain just barely going over his head. Kakashi was taken by surprise as the chains dug into his skin. The chains then tightened and ripped the Jounin into pieces. One down. Within a moment, both Nin were next to Naruto. They brought their gauntlet chains up for another attack. Two down. Naruto's shocked face dropped immediately, revealing a knowing smirk as the chain looped in front of him. I wouldn't be so sure. Immediately, Sasuke leaped into action and pulled out a shuriken and kunai, first throwing the shuriken which impaled the chain to the tree. She jumped into the air and threw her kunai with strength, impaling it through the shuriken to hold the chain in the wood. The two brothers tried, in vain, to pull the chain free. Nice job, Haim. With their attention off Naruto, it was his turn to get into the fight. Naruto brought his arms into his chest and then sent his elbows out, crushing the two's cheeks and pushing them away from him. Brothers quickly recovered and glared at Naruto, realizing that they were up against opponents of a higher caliber than normal genin. Cutting their losses, they dropped the chain and headed for Tazuna in a last-ditch attempt to kill him. Sasuke glared at them and took out a kunai, ready to defend the bridge builder. How insolent! Daring to fight an Uchiha? Stay behind me! Tazuna could only cower as the two ran at him, hoping Sasuke would be enough. Meizu was coming up on Sasuke's left when he tripped on something on the ground. He looked down in annoyance only to find hundreds of bugs beginning to crawl up his body and Shino standing above him. One down. He mocked as Meizu screamed in terror as the bugs began to eat his chakra and envelope his body. Gozu hesitated only a moment when his brother screamed, risking a glance toward him as he ran forward. That gave Naruto ample time to appear in front of him with a kunai poised to strike. He would not allow the assassin to get anywhere near Sasuke or Tazuna. Naruto plunged his kunai deep inside the man's chest, forcing him to grunt in pain. The inertia forced Gozu backward with Naruto on top of him before he fell unconscious. Naruto got up from the man's body and returned to Sasuke's side, where she and Tazuna stood in shock. Kakashi appeared in front of the genin and looked down at Meizu, who was just now getting released by the bugs. He was unconscious. The jounin quickly moved to Gozu and removed the kunai, casting it away as blood began to slowly pour out from the man's abdomen. He glanced at Naruto and the wound. Naruto, you did well defending Tazuna and your teammate with the willingness to kill your opponent. Naruto, however, wasn't proud of his lethal attack. He even felt disgusted with it, so he kept a straight face at the praise. But don't limit yourself to only lethal moves. An unconscious opponent is as harmless as a dead one. Sometimes an enemy can be more useful alive than dead. Kakashi ripped open Gozu's garments and began to provide basic medical treatment to stabilize him. Yes, sensei, the blonde genin said quietly as the man continued to work on the downed enemy. Sasuke just continued to stare at her best friend in awe of his ability. Maybe the blush was from envy as well as admiration, but she couldn't deny how amazed she was. With speed even she couldn't follow, Naruto had intercepted Gozu, dodged his claw, and was able to down him in one hit. All the while doing it to protect her. Now that was something few girls could boast. That was amazing, Naruto. He looked at her and gave a hesitant smile. I just acted on instinct, Sasuke. I didn't want my teammates or client to get hurt, he replied. But I will like avoiding deadly blows if I can. Sasuke got an annoyed face and Naruto felt her fist bonk his head, forcing him to nurse it. Oi, what was that for? You idiot. Don't be so modest and take my compliment. Kakashi finished up and looked over at his favorite blonde and the Uchiha girl. Even as they argued, they were smiling and laughing. It brought a veiled smile to his lips as well. Shino just shook his head at their antics but quietly acknowledged Naruto's skill. He made it seem easy to intercept the larger ninja while I felt as if I was pushing myself to reach my target in time. It seems I still have some things to learn. No one acknowledged my win, he said quietly in a somber tone, making the Sasuke and Kakashi look at him. Anything else, Shino? You say something, bug boy? He sighed. No, before looking away, ignored Kakashi and Sasuke. Naruto, however, looked at him worriedly. Shino, now Tazuna-san, we need to talk, Kakashi said, and Tazuna gulped. With the appearance of these two, this has turned into a B-rank mission, which is way above our pay grade. I'm sure you've had your reasons for lying, but we're already a relatively new team, and to make it worse, our team can miss one member. Tazuna stood there, gritting his teeth, his eyes showing some desperation and helplessness. Good job, team, as always. Kakashi did the honors of tying them up, propping them against a tree as they waited for the two to regain consciousness. Tazuna-san, I think we need to have a little talk, Kakashi said, smiling at the sweating man. Gozu and Meizu, twin brothers and missing nin from Kirigakure, only known associate being Momochi Zabuza, also a missing nin. Both are 25 years old. Rank, Chunin. Naruto stated as he read from the bingo book. Chunin? Those two amateurs, Sasuke said with a mocking tone. Naruto sighed. Uchiha and their complacency. How did you read their movements? Tazuna asked the silver-haired jounin. On a sunny day like this when it hasn't rained in days, there's not going to be a puddle. If you knew that, why'd you let the brats fight? Tazuna asked. Kakashi waved his hand flippantly. Any one of my team, me included, could have killed these two instantly. But, he sent a sideways glare at Tazuna. There was something I needed to find out. Who these two were after. What do you mean? Tazuna asked, feigning ignorance. Meaning, were they after you? Or one of us? He looked suspiciously at the old man, making him sweat. We didn't hear that there were ninja after you. Our mission was to simply protect you from thieves or gangs. This has now become at least an A-rank mission. This was supposed to be simple protection until you completed the bridge. The old man looked down, his brows furrowed. Naruto crossed his arms. If they had known ninja were after you, this would have definitely been set as a B rank. He looked at the old man. If there are just demon brothers going after him, I'm sure you had your reasons, but it causes problems when you lie about the mission. As of now, we're operating outside of our mission parameters. With Kakashi's words, Tazuna took a deep breath and looked seriously at the team. I suppose you deserve the truth. You're right, this job is most likely outside of your duties. It turns out that a super dangerous man is after my life. The four sweat dropped at hearing this, all thinking the same thing. What is with this guy and the word super? Who? Kakashi asked. Tazuna sighed. You've probably at least heard his name before. The wealthy shipping magnate. A man named Gatu. Kakashi's eyes widened at that. Gatu? From the Gatu company? He's said to be one of the world's few extremely wealthy people. Yes, well, officially he runs a large shipping company. But secretly he sells drugs and other illegal items using ninja and gang members to take over businesses and countries. He's a very nasty man. The other's sweat dropped. Nasty would be putting it mildly. It was about a year ago when he set his eyes on Wave Country. Through money and violence, he quickly took control of the country's shipping industry. Gatu now has a monopoly on all business traffic in the country. The only thing he has to fear now is the completion of the bridge. Sasuke crossed her arms. I see. With the completion of the bridge, Gatu's monopoly will disappear. So he sent ninja after you to stop it from happening. What I don't understand is why you hid the fact that ninja were after you when you hired us. Naruto raised a brow at his sensei. Isn't it obvious, Kakashi-sensei? With Gatu having a monopoly on all the business, the rest of Wave must have been bled dry. Kakashi scratched the back of his head in embarrassment, something that apparently both Naruto and he did. It's true, Tazuna stated. Wave Country is super poor. Even the daimyo has no money. Of course, we don't have much money either. Not enough for an expensive B-rank mission. Kakashi's brows furrowed. Well, if you quit the mission now, I will definitely be killed. The old man suddenly grinned cheerily. Don't worry. If I die, my cute 10-year-old grandson will just cry for a few days. Oh yeah, and my daughter will live a sad life hating Konoha Ninja forever. But it won't be your fault. Not at all. The four sweat dropped at the man's obvious act. Well, I guess we have no choice, he said with a worried-eye smile. We will protect you until you complete your bridge. The three genin gave their sensei a deadpan stare. Pushover. The three thought in unison. All right, I think I should send a letter to report Hokage-sama. Our mission will be a B rank now. Naruto shook his head. I don't think we should do that. At least now Kakashi-sensei. He recommended. Gigi will surely summon us come back immediately and send the higher rank team. It will delay the progress of the bridge construction. Gatu will have the time to find more high-rank missing nin, and like Tazuna-san said, the wave can't pay for something as expensive as a B rank and more now. The blonde explained clearly, by the way, I don't want Izumine or Makoto Obasan to know. Man, God only knows how they will react. He thought with a sweat drop. Kakashi rubbed his chin thoughtfully before shrugging. Okay, I guess you're right. So we will report it once we get back. Kakashi finished tying the two missing nin to a tree, leaving them to be picked up by proper authorities. Both had since woken up from their slumber but had refused to answer any questions. Occasionally, one would take a glance toward Naruto and glare, but otherwise did nothing. It wasn't long before the Jounin gave up and ordered them to continue walking. It was on the first night that Shino volunteered for watch duty as the rest got out their sleeping bags, doused the fire, and proceeded to rest. Sasuke and Naruto chose to sleep next to one another while Kakashi and Tazuna occupied other sides of the camp. The Aburame chose to take up watch in a tall tree, releasing insects from his sleeves as he hopped up each branch to a respectable height. While his bugs formed a perimeter, Shino himself would keep an eye out for movement in the treetops with his view. Content with his setup, he crouched down and leaned against the trunk to get into a comfortable position. Back on the ground, Naruto was having trouble getting to sleep while Sasuke was sleeping well. Unconsciously, she had taken his free arm and placed it over her body, forcing Naruto to be very close to her. Not that he necessarily had a problem with that, but combined with his troubled thoughts, she was not helping him sleep. "I think I need a little fresh air," he told himself and began to carefully remove himself from her hold. Sasuke frowned as his arms slowly slithered out of her hold but smiled when he stroked your hair. "Sweet dream, Haim." With that, Naruto got up from his sleeping bag and looked around for his other teammate, deciding to pass the time with conversation. "I hope he won't mind." He leaped up into the tree and followed a similar path that the Aburame had taken. When he arrived on the same branch, Shino did not flinch at his presence, although Naruto was sure he wasn't exactly expecting him. "Naruto, you should be asleep," he said flatly, and Naruto sighed. "Yeah, well, I'm having a little trouble sleeping, so I thought I would get a little fresh air." Shino shrugged and looked out into the wilderness. "My bugs have secured a perimeter of about 100 yards from our camp, so that should give you room to move around." Naruto was tempted to leave as it seemed his teammate wanted quiet, but chose to stay instead. "How about we stay and chat? We should be friends as teammates." He quirked an eyebrow at Naruto's statement. "Friends?" The blonde nodded and looked into the sky, a somber look coming over him. "Yeah, friends. You see, I haven't had such luck with making friends in the past. It was rare that anyone talked to me in the academy or even noticed me. Surely Sasuke is my close and best friend. However, I still want to make some new friends, so this is an opportunity I've had to get close to someone else." Shino racked his brain for memories of the blonde in the academy and could admittedly come up with few. "I was always either ignored or hated for things that I was out of my control." Shino listened intently to Naruto's story, feeling a bond with him that he had not felt before. "Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you could change something about yourself, just to see how other people would react to you differently?" Then the blonde chuckled again, shaking his head. "Sorry, I guess you wouldn't. I'm sure you never had a problem like that." Shino got up from his place and sat next to Naruto, surprising the boy. He didn't make eye contact but merely looked up into the clouds, at the full moon that night. "Yes, I have. I used to wonder what it would be like if I wasn't born an Aburame, if I didn't have these insects living inside of me." Naruto watched as Shino brought a hand up with a few bugs crawling on it. It's hard not to think like that, surrounded by others whose bodies were only theirs. To have another entity living and breathing inside you, granting you both power and isolation, is hard to take. Naruto instantly thought of Kurama and realized he and Shino were quite similar. "I had few friends growing up, as it is rare for more than a few Aburame children to be in a generation together. Other kids in the academy would rarely if ever speak to me, but I chose isolation in that case as it was encouraged by my father. Only Shikamaru, who was too laid back to care about my clan's origins, or his friend, Chuji, or Kiba, who would confront anyone who could beat his scores, would interact with me." Naruto looked down and suddenly felt regret, both in thinking he was alone in his pain and also for not speaking with Shino. "When I was put on this team, I expected that isolation to continue whether I chose to be active or not. It was the survival exercise that showed me that individual skill could only go so far. I'm glad we could work together in the end, as it was as much of a lesson to me as it was a wake-up call for all of us." Shino met Naruto's eyes for the first time, even though it was through his shades. "I'm glad to have you as a teammate, Naruto. It's nice to have someone else to talk to, and someone else who shares something inside of them." Naruto's eyes widened. How did he know? Shino looked back into the wilderness, expecting his surprise. "My insects can detect a foul chakra inside of you, something even they wish not to digest. But they can also sense your normal chakra too. So I guess you also have a secret inside of you. It's okay if you can't tell me. I figure if it wasn't important, I would know by now. Naruto pondered whether he should tell Shino or not. He had shared his story. It would only be fair to share his. Careful who you tell of me, Kit. There are those in the world who would try to harness my power. That would mean killing you in the process. Naruto swallowed, but Shino wasn't like that. He could say that. I have a chakra entity inside of me. It's very powerful, but I can't really control it. Shino looked back at Naruto in curiosity. A chakra entity? I've heard that spirits can infest people's bodies. If the spirit was a powerful shinobi, occasionally some chakra will be left behind too. But to think it's this foul. The closest thing I can think of would be a tailed beast. You mean, a tailed beast is sealed inside of you? Naruto nodded hesitantly and Shino pondered it more. Interesting. Naruto's eyes widened. He wasn't being hateful or angry at him. Wait. You don't care that I have one of the beasts inside me? He whispered in surprise, as if there were others listening. Shino looked at him and shrugged. I find it interesting as I have never seen a Jinchuriki before. I don't see why I should hate you for something you cannot control having or not having, just like my insects. It's thanks to you the beast isn't roaming around freely, and if you can harness its power, you can be quite an asset to Konoha as a powerful shinobi. It would baffle me to think people hate you for it. Naruto was shocked but happy at the same time. It seemed someone did understand him. So you don't hate me for having the 9 tails in me? Shino was surprised it was the 9 tails but came to find it made sense. He shrugged in response. Do you hate me for my insects inside of me? Naruto shook his head and Shino nodded. There was his answer. A moment of silence passed over the two genin as they came to find an understanding between one another. They were alike in more ways than one even though appearances could be deceiving. So, does Sasuke know about it? Shino suddenly asked. Naruto shook his head. No, I still don't tell her yet. Her mother and sister, however, surely knew about it as one was one of Elite Jounin and now the clan head while the other is in ANBU Black Ops. Kakashi-sensei may or may not know about it. However, they don't tell her anything or maybe they're simply waiting me for tell her myself and I'm glad they do that. The boy sighed before turned to Shino. So until the right time, please Shino, keeping it a secret. Naruto pleaded. I see. You have my word, Naruto. In fact, it's not my position to reveal your secret without your permission. He replied as if it was a fact. Thanks, Shino. Naruto smiled cheerfully. Perhaps this means we could be friends then? He suddenly asked and Shino quirked an eyebrow. Friends? I never think I can have friend who hardly talk to me and even have close relationship with the Uchiha clan. Naruto looked down in disappointment. I understand if you don't dash. Shino shrugged. But there is a first for everything. He extended his hand and Naruto happily grabbed it in a short handshake. Friends? The Uzumaki asked with a smile. Friends? The Aburame answered. Over the next few days, the group continued their travel to Wave. Sasuke noticed a more relaxed air between Naruto and Shino, which she found to be odd considering the two hadn't talked that much before. They now shared idle banter on the walks, whether it be about the village or jutsu or just how the day was. It was making Sasuke a little jealous and she longed to be alone with Naruto rather than be stuck with the group. The group moved through the forest. The sun beat down on them from midday. Although not as hot as the land of fire, Wave did not offer much more comfort in the way of weather. Naruto had wandered ahead of the pack a bit and was looking around for something. Sasuke was on Kakashi's right, Tazuna on his left, and Shino was behind. The old man had said his house was still a good ways away, and Kakashi believed that they could expect an attack before then. What he didn't know was when it would happen or who it would be. Tazuna had made himself an enemy of a business giant, and that meant few mercenaries or rogue ninja were out of his reach. The first two had been from Kiri, and Kakashi was inclined to believe the next one would be as well. But who? Naruto had been very careful since the initial ambush as he did not want to repeat how close their assassins got. So Naruto had decided to take the lead and keep himself alert for anything that could be a threat. Of course, he wasn't naive to think he could beat every threat, but if worse came to worse, he would be the one hurt and not his comrades. I won't let anything happen to them, I promised myself. He looked at Tazuna, Kakashi, Shino, and Sasuke. The Aburame also looked at him and nodded slightly. Naruto smiled softly. Kurama used what little control he had over his chakra to reach out and sense the surroundings in an attempt to help Naruto. For the most part, he only felt animals or the other members of their party, but on the edge of his influence was always something trailing them. Could have been an enemy ninja, but the fox didn't want to say anything unless he knew for sure. Besides, it would be a good challenge for his jailer. A rustle in the bushes brought Naruto's quick reflexes into play. Before anyone could react, Naruto had released a kunai into the forest and the rustling suddenly stopped. Everyone went on alert as he approached the spot and suddenly sagged his shoulders and sighed. "It's just a rabbit." They sweat dropped as the blonde bent down and picked up his kunai and apparently took a look at the rabbit. "Wait," Naruto said to himself as he looked at the coat. It was pure white as if it was for winter. It was right in the throes of summer here. That much was obvious. Why did this bunny rabbit have that color of a coat if it lived here? This rabbit was kept in captivity for the sole purpose of kawarimi, a substitute. Naruto widened his eyes at that. "Kakashi-sensei, everybody get down." The jounin ordered and knelt while the others scrambled. A colossal sword sliced the hair where their bodies were seconds before embedding itself halfway into a nearby tree. Then, in a blur of motion, a tall figure appeared on the wide hilt. He was shirtless, showing off impressive muscles. He wore baggy gray pants and elbow warmers, and his face was covered by bandages. His forehead protector was tied above his forehead with the symbol of the hidden mist village. Well, if it isn't Kirigakure's missing nin Momochi Zabuza. If it isn't Kirigakure's missing nin Momochi Zabuza. Naruto widened his eyes. The demon of the mist, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Momochi Zabuza. This is bad. Kakashi of the Sharingan, the copy ninja. Zabuza replied. No wonder the demon brothers were defeated. I'm here for the old man. Give him up and I will let you and your little brats go unharmed. I can't let you do that, Kakashi stated seriously. Protect Tazuna and stay out of this. He ordered his genin, at the same time signaling them to intervene if there was an opening. He then proceeded to raise his headband, revealing a Sharingan eye. Sasuke widened her eyes when she saw Kakashi's Sharingan. She wanted to go and question him, but Naruto held her wrist. His look said that there was no time for worrying about that now, as their enemy was here. She decided to let it pass, but she was going to find out it later, no matter what. The 3 shinobis leaped near Tazuna, Naruto in front of him, Sasuke on the right, Shino on his left. Using your ace in the sleeve so soon? Zabuza mocked. I'm honored. Let me do the same. And he disappeared in a blur along with his sword. Kakashi found him immediately, followed by Naruto and Shino, who had refined their sensor abilities. Zabuza stood above the water, left arm lifted above his head, right hand forming an half-ram seal. Hidden mist jutsu. A thick veil of mist surrounded them. It was very heavy and made it impossible to see a bloody thing. Be alert, Naruto said quietly. Zabuza is a master of silent killing. You won't hear him coming. Then Zabuza unleashed his killing intent, and it was harsh and cruel and overwhelmed the kids. No matter how stoic, Shino was still very inexperienced, and even Sasuke had problems to find her usual confidence under the pressure. Naruto was still normal. Kurama's killing intent is worse than this so much, he thought while watching around them carefully without fear. There are 8 points that cause certain death. The larynx, liver, lungs, spine, carotid artery, collarbone, kidneys, and heart. Which one should I choose? Zabuza's voice rang out. It was impossible to discern from where he was speaking. Saki was getting too frightened and brought her kunai to her neck to kill herself from the pressure and suffocation. Sasuke! Naruto thundered and grabbed her hand which held the kunai. Calm down. I won't let anything happen to you. He nudged her with his elbow and gave her a confident grin. The Uchiha blushed at that. I idiot! I'm an Uchiha! She yelled, but he just shrugged. Then he turned to Zabuza. Hey, no eyebrows! Naruto said loudly, and Zabuza growled with the nickname. A dog who barks is a dog that doesn't bite. So stop your theatrics and do attack us before I die out of sheer boredom. Sasuke's sweat dropped while Shino shook his head with his antics. Kakashi internally laughed. Ma, That childish and mischievous personality. Kushinanizan is surely very proud of him. Zabuza laughed. The blondie has spirit. I like him. I might even keep him. He said, from behind them. Pity, it's over. He appeared behind them, right in the middle of the defensive formation. He swiped his sword at the blonde shinobi, but Naruto just smirked and made hand seals. Snake, dragon, rabbit, tiger. Zabuza widened his eyes as he saw the last hand sign. Damn! Fire style, dragon flame jutsu. Naruto spitted flames from his mouth, heading right toward the missing Nin. Zabuza immediately used substitution for getting away. He then glared at the blonde. A fire jutsu. Not bad, brat. Zabuza growled. They are fine kids, and in case you don't know, Zabuza, the boy who just nearly barbecued you, is the dead last of the Ninja Academy. A tick mark appeared on Naruto's head. He surely got his sensei back for it later. Kakashi mentally chuckled as he saw Zabuza's stunned expression. However, I'm your rival here, Momochi Zabuza, Kakashi said and glared at him. I won't let you touch them. I'd like to see you do that. Zabuza jumped back and disappeared in the mist again. No way Naruto let him hide and catch them on their rear flank. Wind style. Great breakthrough. He overpowered the jutsu. The massive burst of wind blew out the mist, leaving a flabbergasted Zabuza. As soon as he was visible again, Kakashi leaped towards him. Thinking about it, they do not need babysitting, Kakashi exclaimed, trying to stab him with a kunai. Zabuza dodged and managed to kick the jounin in the guts, sending him towards the lake. He jumped after him. Kakashi tried to surface. What's this? Why does the water feel so heavy? We'll test your theory, Kakashi. Zabuza laughed maniacally. Water style, water prison jutsu. A dome of water appeared around the jounin, imprisoning him. However, Zabuza had to hold him in place with both his hands extended. You can't escape from this one, Kakashi. You give me too much trouble when you are allowed to move. Zabuza's killer glare pierced the jounin as he spoke volumes on his plan. I'll take care of you later, but right now I think I'll deal with these runts. He turned to look at Naruto and the rest who were locked in place. Water clone. Clones formed from the water, slowly marching towards the three genins, as if mocking them. What's the plan, Naruto? Sasuke asked. Naruto was thinking. Using fire would only be counterproductive in such a climate. A seal? No, it was not enough as there was more than one clones here. Shuriken clones? Possibly. And the insects? They were a good option. Zabuza didn't know to watch out for bugs. He signaled Shino, sneak bugs on him, steal chakra, and to Sasuke, ready for your toys, let's show this no-eyebrows old man what we can do. Naruto said instead. Shino, protect the client. Haim, let's go wild. Shadow clone jutsu. He shouted, making at least 50 clones appear. Slow them down, guys. Zabuza was impressed, but didn't show it. You think you are ninja, do you? You think you are so good. I see how you show your forehead protector with pride. Brats. To be true shinobi, you need to survive battles and kill. Ahahaha, by the time I was your age, blood soaked my hands already. He wanted to tell his story to intimidate them, but Naruto dismissed it. If you wanted to have a conversation, you should have gone to a bar, not to a battlefield. Now, Sasuke. Immediately, the Uchiha girl threw a dozen of shuriken at the real one, making one clone intervene to stop them. The clone's eyes widened when he heard a hissing sound. Boom! She hit explosive tags with genjutsu. Zabuza realized as his clone was destroyed. I gotta stop underestimating these genin. Kakashi was quite shocked in his prison. He knew he had one of best teams under his wings, but what they were doing exceeded his expectations. As soon as the explosion detonated, the Shadow's clones leaped. Zabuza was far more skilled than them and he had a huge sword, but Naruto had numbers and wind manipulation on his side. Eventually, the battle royal between clones finished, revealing 3 Zabuza standing. Impressive, the real Zabuza said, but not impressive enough. Think it's time to bring out the big guns, Naruto said with a grin. Haim, you ready? HN, who do you think you're talking to? Dobe? She took a medium-sized and foldable Fuma shuriken from somewhere. "Take this!" And Sasuke hurled it with unexpected strength and speed. "You think a shuriken is enough to stop my clones? You are deluded." Zabuza mocked, but he narrowed his eyes as the grin was still on her face. "Shuriken Shadow Clone. Wind Style. Gale Palm." Zabuza's eyes widened again, seeing the Fuma shuriken duplicate into at least 40 and becoming enhanced by wind chakra. He immediately had the 3 clones use their swords as shields, rotating them around. What he didn't expect was to see another horde of Narutos jumping after the projectiles. "Damn brats!" Some creepy sounds came, followed by one of the Zabuza jumping back and the other 2 being sliced by Naruto's wind blades. The water clones started to make hand signs. "Cover now, Haim. I will provide fuel." Sasuke nodded. He and Naruto started to make hand signs. Shino moved behind them, dragging a scared Tazuna with him. "Water Style. Water Dragon Jutsu." The clone said. A very big dragon head made of water raised and charged to 3 genin. "Fire Style. Fire Shield Jutsu." "Wind Style. Great Breakthrough." "Scatter!" Sasuke exclaimed. "It will only slow it down." Naruto grabbed Tazuna and jumped on the trees, followed suit by Shino and Sasuke. Luckily, the water clones couldn't use the same amount power of the real one, or things would have been worse, much worse. The shield of fire was indeed obliterated, even though it was powered by 2 wind jutsu. It did buy enough time for the 3 genin to escape. From the threes, Naruto signaled Shino to prepare and launch a final attack to Zabuza, then passed his best friend 2 Fuma shuriken, having care not to be seen by their foe. Zabuza smirked. "You are good little brats. I'll give you that." Sasuke narrowed her eyes. She surely didn't like Zabuza's mocking tone. She jumped down and Naruto followed her. "Let's finish this." She threw the Fuma shuriken at the clone. "Only one this time? You look exhausted, girl." Sasuke just smirked at him. As the water clone stopped the shuriken with ease, he realized there was a second one under it, going towards the original. "You won't fool me," Zabuza shouted. But then, to his surprise, the 2 shuriken transformed into Naruto. One blonde easily destroyed the clone while the other hurled 2 kunai at the real one. Zabuza cursed, knowing he needed to get out of the way. He did so, grudgingly jumping back and setting Kakashi free. But it wasn't over. A black swarm descended on him. "What the fuck?" he exclaimed, trying to shove the bugs off. "They are draining my chakra." He summoned some waves of water to free himself of bugs, but between them and the fight, he was quite tired. Kakashi chuckled. "You made the mistake of underestimate my genin. Alone they might not to defeat you and your clones, but together they are lethal." He then glanced at his students. They may be competitive, but at least they can be a team. Or it's because the presence of Naruto in here. He glared back at Zabuza. "Now you face me, Zabuza, and I shall not fall for the same trick twice." "We'll see," Zabuza shouted. In a lightning-fast motion, he began going through hand signs for a jutsu. Kakashi's Sharingan followed them and copied it. "Water Style. Water Dragon Jutsu." "Water Style. Water Dragon Jutsu." Both said in unison as 2 water dragons rose up and clashed with each other as Zabuza and Kakashi engaged each other in weapons combat. Zabuza was perplexed as to how the 2 jutsu were executed at the same time. "Something weird is going on. He executed the technique at the same time as me," Zabuza thought, jumping back. Kakashi did the same without hesitation. Zabuza tried to get at Kakashi's back, but the masked Jounin mirrored him step by step. Zabuza raised his left arm, only to be copied again by Kakashi. He tested it again by lowering his hand, and he saw his foe imitating it with perfect timing. "My movements, it's like he is flawlessly predicting them," Kakashi said, as if completing his thoughts. "Did he read my mind?" Zabuza thought, looking at the twirling Sharingan of Kakashi. "Damn, he has such an annoying eye. He is fucking pissing me off, right?" Kakashi smirked. "All you are doing is copying me dash. You can't beat me, you monkey bastard." Kakashi finished once again. Zabuza was easily infuriated by the other nin's soft mockery. His very blood was boiling. First his students, now him. "I'll make sure you'll never open that mouth again," he shouted. going through hand seals, but Kakashi finished before him and launched the jutsu. Water style, giant vortex jutsu, Kakashi said. A massive wave of water rose, before crushing down towards Zabuza. As the demon of the mist was twirled around, he thought, why couldn't I keep up? Then he was hurled violently to the ground. Before he could regain his bearings, kunai embedded themselves in his arms and legs, blocking him. Impossible, can you see the future? He said as he coughed, and Kakashi stood above him with a kunai in his hand. Yes, and your future is death. He said coldly, going to finish it when 2 sunban needles came and pierced his neck. What the hell? Sasuke asked, drawing a kunai as well. Shino and Naruto looked alert, before both looking at a tree on the other side of the lake. You are right, he is dead, a voice said from that very direction. A feminine-looking figure jumped down. It was hard to understand if he was male or female, but Kakashi thought it was the former. He wore a white mask with the symbol of Kirigakure on the forehead and a small wave in place of the mouth. He was clad a striped moss-green turtleneck and shin-length pants in the same color, covered by a blue-green short kimono. He had pale white skin and long black hair that was tied up in a white bun save for 2 strips that framed his face. He looked very young as well. Kakashi kneeled down and checked Zabuza's pulse. He then fell back in step, getting nearer his team. I've hunted Momochi for a very long time, the Nin said. Thank you for slowing him down and giving me a chance to kill him. Who are you? The Uchiha asked, approaching them. Her teammates and Tazuna followed suit. A hunter Nin from Kiri, am I right? Kakashi lazily said. How is it possible? Tazuna asked. Someone as strong as Zabuza killed by one not older than you. Age doesn't mean anything in the shinobi world. Kakashi lectured. There are shinobi younger than me and stronger than me. Some are probably in front of my very eyes, if they keep growing at this rate. He looked at the hunter Nin. Thank you for your assistance, the masked hunter Nin said. Farewell. And disappearing with a small wave of water. Naruto felt something suspicious but decided to let it go. Well, I'm glad that's over with, he said, breathing a sigh of relief. Sasuke and Shino nodded. Their first battle was a tense one, even if it was successful. They could use a good rest after that. Tazuna scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. It was because of him they had to fight in the first place. Sorry I got everyone in this mess. He smiled, trying to lighten the mood. When we get to my house, I'll be sure to have my daughter cook a nice meal for all of you. Kakashi put on a smile for the team, even as his body threatened to give out. All right, let's get moving. He took one step, and that was when he could feel his body just stop working. Everyone watched as if in slow motion. Their teacher fell over onto the ground, unconscious. Naruto ran over first and checked. He was exhausted. It's surely from using his Sharingan. What happened? Sasuke asked as she ran over to see. He's exhausted from the fight and using his Sharingan, so he collapsed. Shino and Tazuna walked over in concern, wondering what to do next. Here, I'll hold him by one end and Shino can grab the other. Tazuna-san, lead the way. Naruto and Shino picked up their sensei's heavy body and carried him along as the group made their way to safety. Tazuna's house. A few hours later, Kakashi stirred in his sleep. Remembering the situation they were in after he collapsed, he jolted up from the bed only to flinch in pain. His body was sore and he had little energy to move. Tsunade stood above him, hands on her hips as if about to scold a child. Shinobi-san, if your body is weak then you shouldn't move. Kakashi sighed and nodded, laying back down. I won't be able to move right for a week. Better if I lie down. Hearing the commotion, 3 genin came into the room and sat near his bedside. He looked them over and was glad to see they all looked okay from the previous battle. The Sharingan is a powerful bloodline sensei, but if it will make you this exhausted after its use, it might be better to not overuse it. Shino gave voice to what they all were thinking and Kakashi sighed. Sorry for worrying you guys, the silver-haired jounin said with a smile. My Sharingan drained me too much, and add the fact that I'm not an Uchiha. I guess I am getting out of shape. This time it was Sasuke who spoke up. Where exactly did you get the Sharingan? I don't feel like talking about that too much at the moment. Also, it's a long story. I will tell you next time. Now I have something to ask you. The silver hair man looked at his genin. Before I received Team 7, I read reports about you 3. I don't have any problem about you, Shino. The glass boy nodded. Naruto? I'm quite surprised as the report said that you graduated as a dead last. But your skills and tactic in the battle with Zabuza show otherwise. Very good. Naruto replied by his foxy grin. And Sasuke, nothing would please me more from the Rookie of the Year and a member of the Uchiha clan. You did pretty well. However, no report include your Sharingan is activated, and with 3 tomos. When did you awake your Sharingan and how? The air became tensed as Sasuke looked down and bit her lip. She unconsciously gripped her best friend's shirt, her shoulders trembling as if she was afraid of something. Kakashi and Shino were curious to her expression, but Naruto wasn't. He knew what she was thinking. Naruto himself helped her awake her Sharingan after all, and looking at her now made him feel some sense of guilty. If you feel uneasy, you don't need to tell you no. You can rest and I will talk everything to them. Naruto whispered to Sasuke, but she shook her head. I'm okay. Thank you, Naruto. She smiled, then turned to the Jounin. She told them everything, the way Naruto fighting her, let her kill him and awakened her Sharingan in the pain of losing her friend, and then it was just a clone and Naruto was still alive. Kakashi sighed and shook his head in amusement. I'm surprised you didn't pound him then, and Naruto. The said boy looked at him. Your way is effective, I admit, but it might cause Sasuke suffer psychological trauma. There are many ways for activating a basic Sharingan. The mental suffering isn't really necessary. Yes, sensei. Naruto replied quietly, looking down shamefully. However, I'm impressed a little with your knowledge. In fact, it's not often I see a genin like you, he said, and Naruto scratched his head with a shy smile. But how did you graduate as a dead last in the academy? Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other, smiling before turning to Kakashi. It's the Dobe's plan. The Uchiha girl said, I knew the makeup of genin teams is based on the individual skills. Naruto explained, the student who passed with the lowest grades will be put in a team with who passed with the highest grades, so I tried to pass barely. Kakashi nodded at that. Their friendship was almost overwhelming, and it was not like Kakashi didn't know Naruto was a genius under a cover of a dead last. So I just happened to be your teammate. Shino, who had stayed silent for the majority of the meeting, spoke out coolly. Nah, don't tell that, Shino. I'm happy you're my teammate, right? Sasuke, yeah, you did a good job. Sasuke said with a smirk. Nice teammate, I think. Thank you, Naruto. And I don't think I can ask for more than an Uchiha teammate. A tick mark appeared on the girl's head. What did you say, bug boy? Like what you heard, Uchiha Haim-sama. Aburame team. Kakashi I smiled with the argue. Looked like his students saw through their rivalry and got along. It was all thanks to his favorite blonde genin. Kakashi looked to Naruto, who now had a thoughtful expression while staring blankly at the wall. Naruto, are you alright? This brought Naruto back into reality. Truthfully, no, I just keep thinking back to the battle. I feel that I have missed something important. And that hunter ninja. Who exactly was the hunter ninja? Sasuke asked, as something about him bothered her. Well, hunter ninja were tracker ones. They are a special squad of ninja that eliminate and destroy the presence of any rogue shinobi from their village to prevent their secrets from being examined or stolen. Every hidden villages have their hunter ninja teams, including our hidden leaf village. They listened as Naruto explained his knowledge. Secrets? Shino asked and Kakashi nodded. For example, if Sasuke or I were to die, our enemies could examine the Sharingan. He cut a glance towards Sasuke as she flinched on his mention. And in a worst-case scenario, our techniques as well as our eyes would be taken for using by the enemy village. They were quiet, that was a grim reality that faced them as shinobi. Suddenly, Naruto's eyes widened in realization. Zabuza is alive. His words caused Sasuke, Shino, and Kakashi to turn to him. How is that possible? We saw that hunter kill him. The Uchiha protested. This time it was Kakashi who spoke out. What did he use to kill Zabuza? Needles. But he is still dead. Exactly, needles, they can be used to put people into an almost dead state. Also, why would the hunter Nin shunshin off with Zabuza body? He would have destroyed it there, and no, he wouldn't have cared who seen him destroy the body. Also, if he needed proof, all he needed was his sword or head. You're right, Shino, those are the reason why I also think that Zabuza is alive. That is what you are thinking about, isn't it, Naruto? He nodded at this. Sasuke didn't like being left out, so she added her opinion. If Zabuza is still alive, shouldn't we be out there training to get stronger? Kakashi nodded at this. Yes, I will train you guys, of course. Naruto, Sasuke, Shino, it was you guys who saved me from the water prison and defeated the demon brothers. However, Zabuza is still a former Jounin, and not to mention he used to be in the ANBU Black Ops of the Hidden Mist, so I'll take care of him. You guys will fight the Hunter Nin and protect Tazuna while I deal with Zabuza, he said, and they all nodded. All right, we'll start your training early tomorrow morning, he said, and they all nodded. The Kiri Hunter Nin sat next to an immobile Zabuza, preparing to remove his bandages to allow him a better chance to breathe. They were still in the forest, having left the Konoha squad behind a while back. As she reached to remove the cloth, Zabuza caught her wrist and undid the bandage himself. I can do it, Haku, he said, and Haku obediently backed down, though she flinched as she watched his master remove the needles roughly from his neck. Damn, you were too rough with those. Please, Zabuza-sama, be more careful when removing them or you could die. For real. The swordsman didn't seem to mind as he sat up and took a deep breath. He looked over Haku for a moment before huffing. When are you gonna take that mask off? Haku froze and then chuckled a bit. Sorry. It's been a while since I used it. I forgot I had it on. She removed it, revealing her pale and girlish face to Zabuza, who only grimaced as he began thinking of the past battle. Damn that Kakashi. I hate to admit it, but the only reason I'm still alive is Haku. It was nice to use to put on the act. The Konoha ninja didn't suspect it. Zabuza chewed on his thumb, thinking about what happened. You didn't need to use the needles on my neck to inflict the near-death state, he stated, although Haku expected him to say it. Haku knew that Zabuza disliked it when they were forced to do such an act, especially as it was uncomfortable for him. You're a wicked kid for doing that. He put his bandages back on as Haku smiled. It couldn't be helped that Jounin was very observant. The neck was the best chance I had to make it look believable. Zabuza huffed but didn't say anything more. Besides, I didn't want to damage you in any way. The neck has fewer muscles, making it less damaging in the long run. The Jounin tried to stand but found it difficult to move at all from his upright position. It will be difficult to move for the next week or so, but perhaps you will move sooner, Zabuza-sama. He looked over the girl, seeing her innocent smile of amusement. You are pure, clever, and talented, Zabuza said as a statement. He smirked. That's what I like about you. Haku blushed and smiled. I'm a girl, so that makes sense. Around them the fog lifted, allowing for easy visibility. Haku stood up and prepared to help the swordsman move. Will you be okay the next time you fight? Zabuza glared at the ground, thinking of Kakashi. Next time I will deal with Kakashi. For sure. His eyes was dark and that blonde brat. That night, Naruto and Sasuke helped Tsunade preparing dinner. Kakashi and Tazuna returned from the bridge construction site. Shino was resting in the sitting room, quietly reading a scroll his father had left him. How did it go, Tsunade? Tsunade asked. Well, we didn't get any trouble. Tazuna smiled. I think we may finish up in a couple of weeks. I'm glad to hear this, his daughter replied. I'm so worried about you. Grandfather, a small voice shouted, as a little kid rushed into the room from the upper floor. You are back. Ah, Inari. The old man smiled, hugging the kid. Inari, say hello to these people. They are ninja who protected your grandpa. I owe them my life. They are extremely strong, you know? Inari glared them from beneath his hat before letting go of his grandfather and pointing rudely at them. They're all gonna die. He then said as if it was the most natural thing to say. No one can beat Gatu and his men, he added with a depressed tone. Sasuke looked annoyed at what the kid had said. Shino looked a little surprised that the child doubts them, while Naruto and Kakashi saw a certain look in Inari's eyes that they could easily detect. Great! A depressed kid. The demon fox groaned out. Naruto didn't react or say anything to what the tailed beast just said as he continued looking at Inari. Listen, boy, we're here to protect you, grandfather, and don't worry. We are shinobi. We can totally deal with Gato. Inari just glared at Naruto. It's useless, he said with the coldest and depressed tone that a child shouldn't have. If you don't want to die, go back home, he added as he began to leave. Where are you going, Inari? His grandfather asked. To look at the ocean from my room, Inari said as he left, heading up the stairs. That stupid brat. Sasuke thought to herself. What happened to him? Naruto asked. Tazuna sighed to that as he knew his grandson would act the way he did. Please forgive him, he said with a depressing tone. Inari was a good boy. He just had such that behavior after my son's death, and he was my husband, the hero of the wave. Kaiza Tsunami added. What's the story behind this? Kakashi softly asked. He told them of how Kaiza had arrived in their lives suddenly, saving Inari from some bullies. Kaiza taught the kid courage and the power of dreams. He married Tsunami and became Inari's father. We had some flooding problems a few years back, and the gates were opened. We were going to be submerged, but Kaiza took some rope, swam in the rapids, and managed to survive, saving all of us. He became our hero. We couldn't have been prouder. He was the only one to really try and stand up to Gato. What happened? Naruto asked. He was put to death in front of everyone. Tazuna gravely said. Gato's thugs beat him to death and then tied him to a cross. As Gato told everyone Kaiza's crime of being a terrorist against the company, he was executed. Inari watched, crying his father's name. Since then, he changed. He lost hope, as has everyone else. He doesn't believe in heroes anymore. Both Shino and Kakashi sighed and looked down. They understood Inari's acts and hardly blamed that boy. For Sasuke, she understood Inari's pain but was still upset a little because of his attitude. And Naruto, he said nothing and looked pensive. All right. Naruto got out, standing up. Kakashi-sensei, I will go out to relax a little. Sasuke, Shino, you should sleep as we will have the training tomorrow. Then he walked out of the room. When Naruto passes by a room, he heard whimpers. He then discovered him crying in his room, whispering Tuchan. He decided to leave after that. The next day, Naruto left his clones training and accompanied Tazuna to allow Kakashi to better train Sasuke and Shino. He was fine practicing his water jutsu with them. There, he learned how bad things were. May have a word with you, Tazuna? One of the workers asked. Yes, Jichi, I've been thinking about it. I am quitting the construction. I am sorry. Tazuna looked taken aback. Why so suddenly? Not you too. I've known you for a long time, my old friend. But if I keep doing this, if I get too involved, Gato will come after me and my family as well. The man sighed. You should quit as well. If you die, everything will lose meaning. I can't do that. Tazuna simply said. This bridge is our hope. And he walked away. It's lunchtime. But, Jichi, you don't have to come anymore. Tazuna fixed his yellow protective helmet. Naruto really admired the man. He had an impressive courage and willpower, with the only downside of enjoying a little too much his sake. But who could really blame him? Need a hand, old man? He asked, shouting. Tazuna looked at him. You have to guard me. I can create a couple of clones for you. Naruto shrugged. Besides, I really doubt they'll attack us today. If not, Sensei would be here instead. Or he would have all of us here. Sure thing then. Go ahead. Just tell them what to do. Naruto crossed his fingers. Shadow Clone Jutsu. A few days later, and Kakashi made a full recovery, albeit with the help of some crutches made by Tazuna in his spare time. With the looming threat of Zabuza returning over the horizon, Kakashi had set about training the 3 genin in tree climbing for chakra exercise. The sooner they learned how to do this, and the sooner they would be prepared to fight against an opponent in any position. He was limping through the forest on his way to check on the 2 still training. To his surprise, Sasuke, Shino, and Naruto had done well from the start, as to be expected from an Uchiha, an adhering, and an hidden genius. Because Shino's chakra was constantly being fed on by their insects, they had to learn how to control and manage their chakra flow to have enough at all times. For Naruto, although he had so much chakra from his tenant, he trained himself so much since he was just 7, at least that was what Naruto talked to him. For Sasuke, she surely had her mother and sister helping her in training, plus the fact Naruto was her best friend and rival. The silver-haired Jounin noticed that Sasuke treated everything like a competition with Naruto sometimes. Well, the competition between them would only help the other improve, so he would leave it be. Then, Kakashi decided to teach them the nature transformation, using chakra paper to check their elements. Earth for Shino, fire and lightning for Sasuke, and wind, water and fire for Naruto. Perfect team with full 5 elements. I expect nothing less. Sasuke and Naruto, Minato-sensei and Mikoto-sama mini versions. At the present, Shino and Kakashi were guarding Tazuna at the bridge while Naruto and Sasuke still continued their training. As the Jounin arrived at their training ground, he saw that both of them had collapsed in the grass, sleeping. Their hands were over one another, and it seemed they kept each other company before falling asleep. Kakashi smiled at this notion. He, however, couldn't help his bad feeling at the same time. The Jounin began to reminisce about stories that he listened from the Sandaime Hokage and fellow Konoha shinobi. About a famous and legendary relationship, he even saw it himself, though not too much. It was beautiful, but most of all were inadequate, and the result was tearful and full of tragedy. Something such as happy ending that was never existed in it, and he was afraid his 2 students would get sucked into that circle. Still, there was always the first time for everything. Although it was very unlikely, Kakashi chose to believe in Naruto and Sasuke, believing in Sensei's son and his intellectual ability. Uzumaki and Uchiha, an interesting duo. Dropping off a basket with lunch, Kakashi decided to head back and leave them to it. Keep at it, you two. The silver-haired Jounin mentally encouraged. Wind style, wave vortex jutsu. Naruto screamed, hurling a devastating whirlwind around. Well, the jutsu is coming down nicely, Sasuke said, standing on the tree. I can use it in battle, that's the important thing. Naruto replied with a smile, what about you? Will you start with B-rank jutsu anytime soon? It will be soon. She jumped down near him. Want to try together? Why not? Sasuke smirked and started doing hand signs. Fire style, great fireball jutsu. Wind style, wave vortex jutsu. Naruto screamed. Oh shit. The whole clearing was obliterated, along with several trees. The flames rose up, illuminating the 2 genins. Devastating, Sasuke said. It combines the rotating power of wind with the heating power of fire. Magnificent. Nice combination. Naruto laughed. I hate to say this, but it make me feel better than. He looked down sadly. Sasuke, of course, knew what he was thinking. Don't mind a certain stupid brat and his whining, she said in an annoyed tone. Naruto shook his head. It's not his fault, he said with the sense of empathy. His attitude is overreacted slightly, but he's not really bad. You knew what happened to his father. What he went through is surely terrible things, so he inclined to be pessimistic and taking a negative view of his prospects. You're just so nice. Sasuke kicked the ground. Sometimes you should be selfish a little and think of yourself. I'm fine. He winked at her. I have you watch my back, right? Sasuke blushed. I idiot. What the hell are you saying? She yelled and whacked his head. Ow! What did I do? Shut up, you idiot. It's not like I like you, she mumbled, her voice low slowly. Naruto titled his head. Did you say something? Nothing, you idiot, she growled. I will come back. Naruto shrugged. Go ahead. I will train a little and come back later. Sasuke narrowed her eyes. Just come back before nightfall, she recommended sternly. Zabuza is still alive, so he can be around here. I know, Haim. Don't worry, I won't die that easily, he replied with a foxy grin. I know that, she said quietly. But it doesn't mean it won't happen, and I'm still afraid. I don't want to lose you. Her voice trembled a little. Naruto looked at her, then sighed. I promise I will try to survive. I won't die. Not before our dream become true, and by the way. He held her hand. I hate to see you sad. Sasuke stared at him and then smiled softly. You better keep your promise, Dobe. For some reasons, she moved and leaned her head on his shoulder. He hugged her and they stayed like that for a very long time, as if nothing else mattered, as if they didn't have to face a potential deadly fight that they would had. Unknown to 2 genin, Kakashi had seen everything as he was leaning against a tree. Looking at 2 students hugging, He was glad for their relationship, and Naruto had a true friend, a comrade, a partner whom the boy could trust and rely on. I think I used to see that scene. Oh right, one of pictures from Jiraiya-sama's album, Minato-sensei and Mikoto-sama. He became thoughtful. It will be a lie if I say that they're not suited to each other, but Minato-sensei loved Tsunade, and Mikoto-sama was engaged to Uchiha Fugaku. The silver hair man then looked his students again. But this time, I believe everything will be fine. No way Mikoto-sama forbade their relationship, and I'm sure Tsunade and sensei in the afterlife will be happy. He smiled pervertedly before sighed. With one exception, Minato-sensei, why is your son very dense like you before? He thought with anime tears. A few minutes, he saw Sasuke leaving and Naruto was back his training. He didn't want to disturb him and he still had other students. So the silver-haired jounin decided to leave in silence. A dead last day? Just fools think that. Kakashi glanced at Naruto. I expect to see your abilities in the future, Naruto-kun. The next day, Naruto threw himself on the ground in rest. He had been training the entire night and early morning on some water techniques and a few other ones he knew from memory. No matter how much chakra he had, exhaustion still hit him as easily as any other ninja when he reached his limit. Hopefully one day when he was older, it would be easier to maintain his chakra control because even then Naruto felt like he still had so much more to learn. Man, I know Kakashi-sensei said that they're high-rank jutsus and it's difficult to master them, but I never think that they can exhaust me. Whatever, no one says I can't rest my eyes a bit. Hee. Spreading his arms out wide and basking in the morning sunshine peeking through the trees, the blonde decided to take a nap. If Mikoto, Izumi, or even Sasuke were there, they would surely berate him for sleeping on the grass in the middle of a forest, but it felt too good to pass up. All his muscles were sore and could not move an inch in this sunlight, so peaceful it was. A figure walked through the forest, wandering aimlessly through the trees and picking specific plants and herbs for their basket. From a distance, it would look like a beautiful young girl with raven black hair, reaching far down her back. She would wear a light pink dress, loose-fitting and comfortable for a walk in the morning. Haku approached the sleeping Naruto, watching his chest rise and fall and listening to his breathing to determine if he was asleep or not. Carefully she approached, making each step as quiet as a mouse. She crouched near the blonde, tentatively reaching to grab his neck. If I just finish him here, then he will not get in the way of Zabuza-sama. As she almost reached him, Haku hesitated. Naruto's eyes opened and he launched himself up, grabbing Haku and getting on top of her with his chakra knife to her neck. Expecting it, Haku played helpless to feign a normal person, masking her face with surprise and fear of the attack. Naruto looked over Haku and slowly relaxed, realizing it was not an enemy but a normal person probably from the town. The person's raven black hair somewhat reminded him of Sasuke's and he blushed a bit, thinking it was a girl. Damn it! You're right. She is so beautiful and sexy. Kurama yelled pervertedly. Naruto sweat dropped as he heard his words. That erotic fox. He sighed. I'm sorry, mister. Could you please get off of me? Naruto quickly got up and allowed Haku to do the same. Sorry, you startled me and I reacted. He scratched his head in embarrassment. Haku smiled innocently. It's no problem, she said softly. Silence fell over them for a moment as they wondered what to say. Haku kept up her innocent appearance but was surprised at Naruto's ability. She thought for sure he was asleep. This one must be more powerful than Zabuza-sama gave him credit for. She would have to be careful in case they came to blows. So, what brings you to the forest at this time of day? Naruto asked, wondering what she was doing out here of all places. Haku looked at him and held up her basket draped on his arm. Picking herbs. Herbs? Naruto asked, looking at the basket as Haku smiled. Yes, for healing illness and injury. Naruto nodded. Oh, do you want some help? Naruto then offered, trying to be friendly. That would be nice, thank you. Haku expressed her gratefulness. The two then spent the early morning picking herbs for Haku's companion. Oh Kit, you're really a playboy. You ready to spend your time with a girl you just meet in a forest, then the Uchiha brat back at the house. The demonic fox then remarked with a mischievous expression on his face. Hey, I'm just being nice. Naruto retorted. To a girl you just met in a forest. Kurama then reminded in the same tone. Oh, shut it. Naruto simply retorted as he continued to look for medical herbs. The fox just shook his head. I really can't blame you when she is so hot. He pestered on. Shut up. Naruto roared in annoyance, completely unaware about the private conversation. Haku turned to the blonde. What were you doing out here so early? She kindly asked. This snapped said boy from his annoyance as he turned towards the girl. Oh, I've been training lately, though I guess I overdid it a bit last night. Naruto explained with grin as he rubbed his head. Oh, so you're a ninja. Haku assumed when she looked at the headband on Naruto's forehead. You already look pretty strong. Naruto looked into the sky, thinking of the Hokage and Kakashi-sensei. No, they were strong. He still had a long way to go before he was strong enough. No, I need to get even stronger. Haku narrowed her eyes as she was soon to learn what drove the blonde to train so hard. She wondered if it would be selfish, self-centered reasons that she had come to expect from most ninja. For what reason? Naruto looked Haku straight in the eye, not even hesitating. To protect the people precious to me. Haku's eyes widened. Naruto sounded like her. Precious people? Naruto looked at the ground as he imagined his precious people, smiling. My friends, Gigi, Irika-sensei, Kakashi-sensei, and her. I would do anything for protecting them. He replied in a soft tone. The image of a certain raven-haired female and her melody smile appeared in his head. He didn't know why, but she was always the one that he thought about, who he was ready to do everything to protect her, even if he had to risk his own neck. Haku heard that. She then observed his expression and smiled. A person becomes truly strong when they have someone they wish to protect and cherish. You draw from those feelings and feel strength, right? Naruto thought about and knew she was right. He did feel stronger when he was doing something for his precious people. Yeah, I do feel that. Haku got up and grabbed his basket, turning to leave. You will become strong. I too have someone I wish to protect. Naruto seemed confused by her manner of speaking, as if she knew him more than she let on. Let's meet again somewhere, far from this place. Haku said with a gentle smile. If we don't already meet one another with a blade, she thought. Naruto flushed a little as he saw Haku's smile. Beautiful, he thought, then smiled back. I'd like that. Sasuke walked through the forest, hands in her pockets as she was deep in thought. The dobe had gone to the forest and didn't come home last night. She stayed up all night, but Naruto didn't appear until now. She had planned on talking with him too, about the team's training and a few things between them. But no, he wandered off and has disappeared until now. What an idiot. I'll make sure he gets an earful when I see him. Sasuke looked up and saw someone, a girl walking toward her. She carried a basket and seemed like she was heading home from collecting flowers or something. Their eyes met for a moment and a cold chill ran down the Uchiha's spine. Passing her, Sasuke turned to get another look to try and figure out if she had seen that girl somewhere before. What was that feeling just now? Shrugging it off, she continued to walk on and soon found Naruto sitting on the ground with a funny look on his face. Of course, she couldn't realize what he was thinking or what had just happened, but her brain pieced things together a little differently from what had actually happened. You stupid dobe. So you're flirting, eh? She yelled in her head, gritting her teeth. Sasuke went through hand seals, fire style, great fireball jutsu. She yelled and a giant ball flame billowed from her mouth, aiming at her best friend. Naruto, with his sensitivity and speed, easily jumped back and avoided the fireball. Who is Sasuke? He looked like surprised as he saw who just attacked him, and she was very furious. What are you doing? You will surely kill me if dash. Shut up, you pervert. Sasuke screamed, interrupting him. Looking at beautiful girls I see. She bashed him over the head, making him fall to the ground and wake up in pain. Ow! Sasuke, what dash? Come with me, you idiot. Immediately, Naruto was dragged by the ear by an irate Sasuke. What was wrong? Did he do something wrong? Why did she suddenly get mad and wanted to toast him? What the hell happened to her? Well, it's not without its reason, Kit, Kurama said teasingly. Girls are terrifying when they are jealous, and you should be careful from now. What the hell are you saying? I really don't understand. Oi, Kurama. Oh, hi. Naruto tried to call, but the fox ignored him, just chuckling himself. Naruto and Sasuke were walking through the town. The blonde boy followed behind his raven-haired friend, and she was pulling him by the ear no less, promptly ignoring him and his pleas. After a while, the Uchiha let him go, but she was still a little mad at him, so she didn't say anything, just opted glaring at him. Naruto looked at her. Are you ever going to tell me why you're glaring at me like that? The girl's response was to huff and turn away indignantly. He thought he heard her say moron and playboy, but that didn't make sense at all. They walked and then saw the condition of the down and were disgusted at Gatu for bringing it down to this condition. The houses were on the verge of falling, and there were many people on the streets, and the stores had nearly nothing except some rotten and old things. Suddenly Naruto felt a tug at his pants and looked down to see a little girl there who placed her hands in front of her. Naiken. Nei-chan, can you give me something to eat, please? I'm hungry, she asked innocently. Naruto widened his eyes, then smiled softly and crouched down, which scaring the little girl, and she thought that he was going to hit her, but instead he wrapped his arms around her and hugged her close. At first, the girl was quite surprised, but she too hugged him back happily. Naruto frowned inwardly. She felt so frail and thin in his arms. It reminded him of the days when he would have to starve at the orphanage as punishment and how much hunger hurt. Hey, don't worry, I will help you. But you have to do one thing for me at first. When he saw the girl look up, he continued. You go to find other children and gather them together in the field near the river. I will bring you guys a surprise, he said with a smile. The girl was at first reluctant. She then nodded and immediately ran quickly. Sasuke approached next to him. What are you going to do, Dobe? She asked in a confusing voice. It's a secret, Naruto replied with a foxy grin. Just follow me and you will see. And he started walking. The Uchiha raised her eyebrow, but she also didn't ask anything and trailed behind him silently. She wondered what he was thinking, though. They walked into a certain part of the forest where there was an open field full of rich soil, grass, and a calm river. Oi, Naruto, what are we doing here? Sasuke asked as she saw Naruto took some small scrolls from his pouch. Just see me, Haim. He winked. There are some simple techniques I want to try. Oh, so you're going to use them? Kurama said in the seal. Great idea. He smirked. Before Sasuke could say anything, he was in the middle of the field. He opened a scroll and put it down on the ground. Sealing technique, ground scatter. The drawing on the scroll suddenly light up and the ground started to rumble under Naruto. Rocks started to come up from the ground and it moved towards the trees. The ground started to move again, but this time the grass started to mix in with the soil. Naruto threw what looked like seeds at different directions in uniform dispersion. Water style, rain summoning jutsu. The clouds in the sky started to come closer to the open fields as it stated to rain softly. The ground was filled with moisture as it poured to the one that brought it there. The rain also got on Sasuke as she stared at Naruto in pure amazement. And looking more closely, you can see the look of care and admiration in her eyes. Soon, it finished just before Naruto opened the second scroll and cast the final technique. Sealing technique, heaven creation. A green light started to glow all around the field as Naruto laid the paper to the ground. The green lights turned a little bluish as little sprouts started coming up. Soon, they immediately turned into fruits, vegetable, and herbs. Sasuke could identify some but not the other. She stared at the field, which turned into a small but beautiful garden now. Apples, oranges, bananas, berries, grapes, and many more fruit were there. Vegetables were tomatoes, broccolis, edible mushroom, cauliflowers, beans, and others. For the herbs, there were mint, basil, parsley, and plenty more. Naruto, this is amazing, Sasuke said excitedly. Naruto looked at his friend and smirked. That's the sophistication of sealings, he stated with a proud voice. Oni-chan, Wani-chan. The two turned around to see the little girl who had asked for food with lot of other children behind her. All their eyes glowed with wonders. The fields, that was once empty and just some solitary trees, was filled with many varieties of fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Did you and Wani-chan do all these, Oni-chan? The little girl asked curiously. Naruto picked up the little girl, smiled brightly. Yeah, we did this. All for you and your friends. Really? Another child asked. Of course. Naruto put down the girl, grabbed an apple and gave it to her. Here, have a bite. The little girl slowly took the apple, bit it, and her eyes soon sparkled. Onai-chan? It's delicious. After saying that, the girls grabbed a fruit that was most familiar and took bite. Soon, other children also ran up to and started to gather. Naruto warned the children not to eat too fast or they would hurt themselves. He even helped them to distinguish every herbs and collect them. Sasuke saw all of this from the side and smiled herself. He was too kind for his own good. She still remembered how he had helped her and be always there for her. Wani-chan. Hearing the voice, Sasuke looked around to see a little boy. He was holding her hand and shook it gently. Why do you just stand here? Go with us. Sasuke blinked at the boy, then nodded in agreement. She was going to go, but, Wani-chan, can you carry me? The boy asked with a hint of hesitation. The Uchiha girl stared at him. She didn't know what to do. When she looked at Naruto, he just answered with a soft smile and a nod. Sasuke sighed but still smiled at the boy and picked up him gently. As like the little girl, he was also so light and fragile that Sasuke thought he was going to break as she picked him up. She could feel his ribs through the shirt he was wearing. This is really un-Uchiha-like. Sasuke held the boy in her arms and slowly approached to Naruto and children. But it's also not bad, she thought with a smile. They were in there until it was late in the afternoon. The children were full and most of crops were still there. They saved some seeds of the fruits and vegetables that they'd like to grow themselves. Naruto carefully asked if any of them know how to read and write, and thankfully most of them said they knew. They would just most likely read the book which was thrown away. Naruto gave them a guide in gardening and how to grow their own crops and food so they won't be hungry anymore. He showed them how to plant, water, and care for them. While he was teaching the older kids, 8 years old or above, Sasuke was watching the younger kids as they slept. The little boy was leaning against her chest and sleeping peacefully. Sometimes, the blonde boy stole a glance and couldn't help a quiet chuckle. What a lovely scene. She will be a good mother in the future. The demonic fox remarked. Yeah, she will be a... Hey, what do you make me to say? Naruto said in his head in pure annoyance while blushing red. But it's the truth. Kurama then reminded with a witty smirk. Naruto gained a thick mark, but he refused to say anything that would ruin this great moment. Soon it was time for Naruto and Sasuke to head back. They grabbed a few of the vegetables, fruits and herbs before they told the children goodbye and left. On their way to Tazuna's house, Sasuke just walked beside him and kept glancing at him from time to time, seeing his happy-go-lucky smile. She couldn't help feeling happy inside and had a small smile on her face. I will do everything to keep that expression on his face, she thought to herself. Tazuna's house. Naruto and Sasuke came to the house to see everyone on the dining table and sat down on their chairs facing each other. Ah, Naruto, Sasuke, you're back. That was sure a long walk. Kakashi smiled at his students. Yes, sensei. Naruto replied with a foxy grin. He then took 2 scrolls from his jacket. It's some fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Please give Shino some. Kakashi, I smiled and received scrolls from the blonde. 2 genin then sat down and started eating. There was a long dead silence. He noticed Inari glaring at them across the table. He sighed. It wasn't the first time he noticed the boy giving them dirty looks, but they couldn't blame him. After hearing the story of Kaiza, it was natural as that kid didn't believe in any hope. That was why he usually just ignored it in favor of eating Tsunade's food. The woman was a genius at making delicious meals from minimal ingredients. Why do you guys try so hard? You'll just die like all the rest. Gato is too strong. Inari blurted out, drawing everyone's attention to him. This made Naruto let out a sigh of annoyance. Listen, kid, you gotta understand that we're trying to help this land for a better future. He tried to reason with the child. Your life isn't that bad, kid. He added. This made Inari snap when he heard the last part of the statement. It's easy for you to talk big. You don't know what Gato's done to this country. You people don't have any idea what it's like to suffer. Tucked away in your big comfy village. You have no idea how hard life can be. He yelled. Tears fell down his face. This made Shino and Kakashi twitch their eyes at that. while the boy's family were stunned by what their child had just said. And Sasuke, this isn't going to be good. Kurama got out with a groan as he rolled his eyes. Shut the fucking up, you disrespectful brat. The Uchiha roared in rage and slammed her hand on the table. She was now glaring at Inari, her killing intent unconsciously leaking out, scaring the boy. You don't know anything about us. About him, she shouted angrily, grabbing Inari by the collar. Sasuke, calm down. Naruto tried to ease her, but it was no use. Listen to me carefully, brat, she bellowed. Stop acting like your life is such a tragedy. You at least still have a home, food, and most importantly a mother and a grandfather who love you. Meanwhile, my friend has lived the lives is anything but good life. I ask you, do you think that you're supposed to live with being hated by practically every person in the place I call home? Sasuke growled out. This startled the kid at the reveal. No? So can you deal with the beatings, abuses? No? Can you survive on your own for years and you're just a 4-year-old child at that time? No? So don't presume to know us, as you couldn't even comprehend what we've been through. All right, that's enough. Naruto spoke loudly. Stop it. Everyone turned to Naruto, looking him concernedly. Naruto then stood up with eyes close. Thank you for the food, Tsunade-san. He thanked the older woman as he turned to go outside for a walk. Before leaving, he looked back over his shoulder. Inari, I learned a long time ago that crying doesn't solve anything. That's when I actually did something about my problems. I hope you can do the same thing. And he left the room. Naruto, Sasuke said in a faint tone, concerned for Naruto. Go after him, Kakashi said, giving her permission she had been waiting for. After Sasuke disappeared behind the door and things settled down, Inari went outside to sit on the dock and calm down. Kakashi followed him out after a bit and sat down next to him, startling him. Mind if I sit here? He asked, and Inari just looked away. It was silent for a while before Kakashi spoke up. I'm sorry about what my female students said. It must have come off pretty harsh back there. Inari said nothing but seemed to listen, so Kakashi continued. But it's hard to understand without knowing your past, you see. That blonde boy, Naruto, he was alone for a very long time, the silver-haired man said in a somber tone. No parents, no friends, no one to care for him. He felt pain. A pain of loneliness during his childhood that no one could take away. Kakashi sighed. It had been a while since he had told such a sad story. After a while, he just stopped crying. He stopped caring about what others would think of him and did as he pleased. I guess he was just tired of being sad. Inari couldn't believe that Naruto had such a rough past with how happy he always seemed to be. The reason he is always happy now is because of his friends, precious people. Especially Sasuke and her family. They are some of very few people who genuinely care for him. You can think the relationship between Naruto and Sasuke is just a close friendship. But let's look closer and you will see it's something more than that. He then looked at Inari, smiling, and Sasuke's family is one of great clans in my village. They are very overprotective of Naruto and adores him. You're very lucky as they're not here. Believe me, you won't like taking their bad side, he said with a shudder. Inari paled. Anyways, one thing's for sure. Naruto has precious people. He trains hard so he can protect them. He is afraid of losing them. He doesn't want to lose them. Inari whispered, understanding his feelings. Those words that Naruto said to you in there, they are probably the same ones he had been telling himself for all those years he was alone. Kakashi smiled and Inari suddenly felt better. I understand now. Outside. Damn it. Damn it. Fuck you. Naruto punched the tree with his bare knuckles. I knew it's the truth. I learned it long ago. I think I'm used to it. I have lived with that until now. But why? Why do I feel very sad and upset now? He continued to punch, ignoring his knuckles which turned red and bled from its overuse. He punched the tree one final time before he let himself fall down from fatigue. He didn't mind the state of his hands. He couldn't feel them anymore because of the numb sensation that was lingering from all the pain. After all, Naruto gazed at the stars, and he felt some tears fall down. He clenched his fists and covered his eyes with his arm. Ever since he knew about his tenant and that he could talk to the Kyuubi, Naruto had never told anyone. Even Sasuke and her family, the Sandaime, Tuchi or Iam, He had been feeling sad and sorry for himself. He was chosen as the Jinchuriki since the day he had been born, the Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Kitsune. The tailed beast attacked his village 12 years ago. And as a result from that, Naruto became a scapegoat, an outcast, a patsy who got a ton of wrath and hatred from villagers. Scars he got from the beatings, abuses, torturers were left on almost every part of the body. However, Naruto didn't hate or hold the grudges against them. He couldn't blame villagers who had lost their family and friends in the attack, and they suffered unbearable pains from them. He couldn't blame the Sandaime as he couldn't be always with him because he still had a village to protect. He couldn't blame the Yondaime as he had done what a village leader must do. He hadn't had any choice, and even the Yondaime Hokage had gotten himself killed. Everything was out of the control and there was nothing he could have done. Damn it! Why do I cry? I knew about it. But why do I still feel very hurt? He covered his eyes with his arms to cover the tears that were streaming down his face. It wouldn't do well for him if anyone found him crying. After what seemed a long while of crying, he passed out from emotional, mental, and physical fatigue, unaware of the pair of concerned eyes watching over him. Sasuke slowly approached the unconscious blonde and crouched down beside his head. Watching from afar, she saw all of his actions and truthfully, it pained her heart to look how much he suffered. Sasuke growled furiously. That damn brat Inari would be so dead once she got her hands on him. Naruto. The Uchiha tenderly raised Naruto's head and carefully put it on her lap. Frequently, Sasuke would certainly not do it because she was too embarrassed and ashamed. However, now they were on the edge of the lake and it grew dark, so Sasuke didn't have to worry about someone saw her be with Naruto. And if somebody really saw this, she couldn't bring herself to care when she saw her best friend break down like that. The raven-haired girl stroked his head slowly and she saw his facial features relax. She smiled serenely at the normally wild, but now peaceful, face. He can smile. He can make jokes. He can be always carefree, but I'm still able to see right through that mask. She rubbed his cheek. I know he's very good. I'm even sure he's better than me so much as he has been surely through more things in the life than me after all. But that doesn't mean he is always stronger than me. Nearly 5 years they had known each other's. Sasuke's feeling for the Kiss-sun head boy had been slowly growing. Naruto might not know, but it wasn't really difficult for her to see right through it whenever he smiled his stupid fake smile, which Sasuke strongly disliked. He tried to act cheerful or funny in front of people. He was always remarkably optimistic and desirous of living. But in fact, he had inward commotion, great sorrow, and he just expressed it when no one was around him. Sasuke fully knew that. He didn't tell her, but she still saw it. She had eyes after all. Glares, insults, names, etc. that villagers gave him. No less than once every month her sister came back with a bloody and bruised blonde boy in her arms, especially every October 10th every year, and it's fortuitous. That day also was his birthday. Although abuses dropped off significantly after her mother became clan head and declared the protection of the Uchiha clan on him with 3 supporting clan, Nara, Akimichi, and Yamanaka, Naruto still faced mistreatment from villagers sometimes. Looking at his expression, Sasuke noticed there was neither the sly, hyperactive, and loud idiot nor the calm and brilliant hidden genius. There was only Uzumaki Naruto, a 12-year-old boy who experienced much suffering and great disadvantages. Injustices which no one could imagine that it was happening to him. It was one of reasons why the Uchiha girl wanted to be stronger, not only to become a powerful kunoichi like her mother and sister and to bring honor to the Uchiha clan, but also strong enough to protect him, to shield him, and to share his burdens. One day I will make him show everything, let everyone. No, not exactly everyone. Just show me your pains and true feeling. That's enough. Idiot. Nothing else matters. You don't need the only one protecting me because I will protect you. It's my promise. The Uchiha told herself, running her finger on his whisker marks as he purred unconsciously. Adorable. She muttered and blushed. A gentle smile spread across her face. Laying down next to Naruto, Sasuke wrapped her arms around him and gently patted his hair. Sweet dreams, Naruto, and I love you. She said the last part in a low voice, holding him in a gentle embrace and breathing deeply as she fell asleep. Unknown to two young genin, their other teammate was there and saw everything. Shino couldn't help feel worrying about Naruto, so he followed Sasuke. Having the QB seal inside, his life was tough all over. Shino was told of tailed beasts and their jailers from his father. He didn't say, but in fact, Shino himself felt it ain't fair to Jinchurikis. They got dangerous creatures inside of them. They kept tailed beasts in the control and silently protected everyone around them. They had to carry a heavy burden. However, they received back from others it wasn't love, affection, understanding, or sympathy but fears and contempt aiming at them. In a sense, treatment which Naruto had from most of all villagers isn't really same as mine and my clan's. His hand was still on his pocket, but it slowly clenched into a fist. It even is far worse than if Naruto had regretted because he hadn't reached to Shino before. Now it was his turn to be ashamed of himself as he hadn't come to the Uzumaki sooner. Naruto wouldn't have been so lonely if he had someone to be his friends and share everything each other as Sasuke wasn't always with him. Again, although Shino wouldn't openly admit, he was glad the Uchiha girl was there for the blonde boy. Looking at the way Sasuke became softer and more gentle when she was close to him, and her confession, he felt a little awkward because it looked like he was overhearing something personal. Shino saw her sincerity, concern, and faithful. For her pride, she might never admit, but he could say it was her genuine feeling for Uzumaki Naruto. She loved him with all her heart. I suppose I won't sleep tonight. He thought to himself, it's quite dangerous for them sleeping here without anyone watching. That's how Aburame Shino got himself into a side mission, guarding for a sleeping black-yellow couple. Team 7 kept training. Their skills had improvements, especially ninjutsu and taijutsu. Kakashi wasn't going to tell about genjutsu so much as Naruto and Shino weren't fit to be genjutsu user. There was only Sasuke who had Sharingan using genjutsu. However, Naruto managed to convince the silver-haired Jounin to teach him a little more genjutsu. Kakashi wondered why Naruto was suddenly interested in genjutsu while his highest strengths were ninjutsu, taijutsu, and a little kenjutsu with his chakra knives. But he let it pass. Naruto was a goal-oriented person and eager to learn. It was just sooner rather than later. The dead last is actually a hidden genius. A great lesson about look underneath the underneath. Kakashi eye-smiled when he thought about foolish Jounin and Chunin who always looked down on his favorite blonde student. I'm expecting to see their expression when he shows his true abilities. And he chuckled evilly. For Naruto, he was watching the spar between his best friend and Shino. The Aburame developed a good friendship with Sasuke. He still felt a little rivalry between them sometimes though. He found out Shino was pretty friendly and fun to talk. Naruto knew he hadn't talked to anybody in the academy, in part because of false opinion about a clan using of insects. It wasn't bad like what Naruto went through, but he sort of understood it. However, there was one thing that Naruto couldn't understand. Why did Shino look at him and Sasuke sometimes, and then he looked like amusing about something? And Sasuke, she was quite odd around these days. Naruto still remembered her pretty sleeping face when she cuddled him and got comfortable on his lap on that day, when he wandered off because of Inari's words and passed out there. Sasuke could go to find him then. He wondered why she didn't wake him up. Instead, she slept over there with him. It was not that bothered him or anything. He was just worried she might caught cold, and he also liked to sleep near her a little. Naruto didn't know the reason why, but he couldn't stop feeling relaxed and comfortable with her warmth. The blonde boy felt he didn't want to leave her side. Looking at Sasuke, who was very satisfied with the result of her training as she greatly improved, Naruto couldn't help his soft smile as he saw her pleasant expression. He wanted her to keep her smile. He would do anything to protect it, even if he had to face her clan's darkness himself. Coming back to his personal training, Naruto was still fully immersed in it, mostly sealing techniques. It was one of the most difficult type of jutsu. Even the basic Fuinjutsu storage seal was still a problem for a new sealing leaner. However, Fuinjutsu brought to the special attraction for the Uzumaki. When Kakashi knew about his sealing's talent, he had suggestions for him and gave him sealing interesting scrolls. The Jounin, of course, didn't forget warning that there was the danger and said that Naruto was very careful or he could get hurt seriously. In addition to training, Naruto made some clones to help out Tazuna at the bridge as most of workers gave up or ran away because they were afraid of Gato and his men. Naturally, he became exhausted for using too much of his chakra, so Naruto had to stay in his room and sleep all day. This was the reason today Kakashi, Sasuke and Shino were standing outside ready to leave as he was snoring away in the bed. Don't you want to take Naruto with you today? Tsunade voiced her concern. Sasuke snorted. The dobe is exhausted from trying to do everything on his own until exhaustion and is now almost as good as knocked out. She said in an annoyed tone, and Kakashi, I smiled. Just let him sleep in today, he has been keeping this up for a while. Send him to the bridge at noon, he said. Tsunade nodded as they left to the bridge with Tazuna in town. Kakashi, Shino, Sasuke and Tazuna approached the bridge. A thick chakra-laced mist covered the bridge. This mist, Sasuke murmured, her Sharingan scanning around. He is coming. Blood, Shino said. My insects smell blood. Indeed, Kakashi sighed. You know what to do. They arrived to the bridge, finding dead bodies of several workers lying around. They were disgusted at whoever had done the deed. Tazuna moved to a worker who was breathing his last breaths and asked him who did all this. He just replied in a whisper, demon, and fell dead. Here they come, Kakashi shouted as he saw two figures in the mist. So Kakashi, we meet again. Where's the blonde brat from earlier? I kinda liked his style, you know? Zabuza asked arrogantly. He'll be here later. Just worry about us for now. The silver-haired Jounin replied with a cold voice. Zabuza chuckled. Is that right? He asked mockingly and created for water clones. They all got on guard. So Sasuke, would you like to do the honors? He asked calmly. The Uchiha girl smirked and channeled chakra to the soles of her feet, vanished in a blur of speed as the four clones splashed down in water and she stood there in her stance. The demon of Kirigakure narrowed his eyes. Looks like you have got an opponent for speed, haven't you, Haku? The said girl nodded. So it seems, she replied, taking out Senbon needle on one of her hands, and Sasuke held a kunai in her hand. Shino, protect the bridge builder. Sasuke, you take on the hunter Nin. Leave Zabuza to me, he commanded, and they all nodded. Shino stood with Tazuna. Sasuke charged at Haku with a kunai, and she blocked with her Senbon needle as both went for hand-to-hand combat. The dark-haired girl slashed horizontally. Haku blocked and went for a punch with her free hand. Sasuke twisted around and slammed a kick into her chest, threw her backwards. The Uchiha smirked as she saw Haku get up and went for the charge. This time they went toe-to-toe and were suddenly locked in a power struggle, trying to overpower the other with their weapons. Kakashi, I smiled, watching his student clash with Haku. Well then, shall we? He lazily asked, staring at Zabuza. My pleasure, the demon of Kirigakure replied. Copy Nin. How will you fare without that eye of yours? Zabuza disappeared and Kakashi immediately dropped into a defensive stance. He closed his eye. I need to be careful. He is deadly silent. Few seconds later, since he didn't sense any attack coming, he got worried. I'm an idiot. Tazuna, he whispered, as he bolted towards Shino and the client. He grimaced when he saw Zabuza swing his massive Zanbato at the impassible genin, who didn't even move. Is this the best your brats can do? Zabuza teased. Kakashi raised an eyebrow, and then smirked, as Zabuza was suddenly covered by a swarming cloud of insects, courtesy of Shino's insect clone dispelling. The true Shino appeared from the mist, launching several kunai at the missing ninja, before returning near to Tazuna. Zabuza growled, struggling to shrug off the annoying chakra-draining bugs, before leaping to deliver another hissing attack at the genin, only to be stopped by Kakashi's kunai. Your opponent is me, the masked Jounin seriously said. Don't forget, it seems I need to take care of you before I can kill the old geezer. Too bad. Zabuza disappeared again. Kakashi sighed. This is getting annoying. He turned to smile at Shino. Good job. And he absently blocked the giant sword slashing towards his midsection with a kunai. This is the best the demon of the mist can do? The taunt was probably a mistake, because in the next few minutes Zabuza's attacks got quicker, stronger, and more frequent. Soon, the silver-haired Jounin found himself panting and barely managing to defend himself, let alone think about attacking. Is this good enough for ya, Kakashi? Zabuza's derisively sing-songed from the mist. Not yet. Kakashi pirouetted to block his foe's sword once again. But it's getting close. In that moment, the two Jounin felt a strong source of chakra rising from the other side of the bridge. What is this? Kakashi thought, a feeling of uneasiness washing over him. Your little raven-haired princess is as good as dead. No one has ever escaped the bloodline of Haku alive, Zabuza stated. You underestimate my genin. I have faith in them. He replied calmly. Oh, do tell. He asked mockingly. Sasuke is the clan head's youngest daughter of one of the most powerful clans in the Hidden Leaf Village. The bloodline is her birthright. A famous dojutsu. He stated amusingly, and Zabuza's eyes widened. You don't mean? He trailed of. The copy Nin continued. Yes, her full name is Uchiha Sasuke. He stated. I heard about the tragedy of the Uchiha clan with some people remaining. How impressive. Who will think the daughter of the Fire Empress of the Sharingan and the younger sister of the Uchiha prodigy is here? But whatever, she won't survive. Not even I can defeat Haku using her bloodline in full strength. Zabuza confirmed assuredly. Even if that little girl awakened her bloodline, she is barely 12 and couldn't have enough control over it. She doesn't have any chance with Haku. Kakashi frowned. This is not good. He gritted his teeth with a pang of worry. Sasuke. He rushed towards her student without thinking, only to see Zabuza appear in front of him. Your opponent is me, Kakashi. The man mocked. Don't forget, the copy ninja sighed. Flustered. Shino can't leave Tazuna alone. I must make this quick. Sasuke may need my assistance. Damn, we shouldn't have left Naruto behind. Please come here quickly, Naruto. He slowly raised his forehead protector. Well, Zabuza, it looks like it is time to get serious. Rays of sunshine peeked through the window to greet Naruto's face. The sudden change in temperature irritated him and made him wake up, rising up quickly. Looking around to see empty beds and the sun high in the sky, Naruto immediately realized he had overslept and had been left behind by the others. Damn! He quickly got out of his night clothes and put on his usual garments, almost falling over as he slipped his pants on while trying to put his sandals on at the same time. Tying his forehead protector tight, Naruto walked over to the door to open it, but heard shouting and found the voices weren't ones he had heard before. What's going on? Naruto slid the door open slightly to look into the main room and his eyes widened. These guys must be Dash. Get back, Inari. Tsunade shouted as two of Gadu's thugs, Zori and Waraji, barged their way into the house and approached the woman. Inari cowered in the doorway to the kitchen and right in front of Naruto's room where he watched the scene unfold. So you're Tazuna's daughter, Waraji declared. I'm sorry, but you're coming with us. He added, but he really didn't meant a word of the apology as he grabbed the woman's wrist, causing her to scream loudly. Mommy! A childish voice called out before Inari poked his head in before gasping. Well, looks like I get to slash something after all. Zori declared with a bloodthirsty smirk as he began to unsheath his blade. At the sight of the blade, Inari was left petrified by fear, and his fear didn't let him think of anything. The thug let out a vicious chuckle at the sight of the scared kid. Then he raised his blade ready to cut or deeply wound the child. No, don't hurt my son. I'll do anything. Tsunade shouted in fear for his son's life. Immediately, Naruto leaped over Inari's head and kicked Zori in the head, making him go down for the count. Waraji was about to tie Tsunade's wrists up when he saw Zori fall and look behind to see what had happened. If you like to pick on the little guys, what the dash and elbow to his stomach knocked the wind right out of him and he saw Naruto crouching below him. It's the ninjas. Naruto pulled his elbow back and sent Zori flying back by hitting him hard in the face. Then why not pick on me? He declared with an angry tone as he stood next to Inari. The said boy and Tsunade could only watch surprisingly. Why dash? Inari managed to mumble out. Waraji was still on the ground hurt and bruised but not out yet. You little dash, Zori growled from the pain. The blonde then frowned as he looked at the down thug. What was that? I didn't hear you over me kicking you ass. Naruto declared with narrow eyes and a serious tone. Zori then struggled his head up as he looked at the blonde. Fuck! You brat! He grunted out as his eyes were bloodshot from anger after being made a fool by a brat. I'm going to kill you, he declared as he adjusted his blade. Like I'd let you a third-rate fail excuse of a samurai like you can beat me, Naruto retorted as he took out a kunai, spinning it around his finger and then held in his right hand. Now want to do this the easy way where you ran with your tails in between your legs, or the hard way where I kick your asses? He roared with a ready-to-fight tone. Inari could only watch at the blonde with a very intrigued, but confused expression. How about I just kill you instead? Zori roared as he charged at the blonde, moving even faster than the thug. Naruto was already right in front of him and gave a kick to his chin which sent him flying upwards as blood came out of his mouth. Then the thug landed on his back completely unconscious. Well, that was a letdown, the blonde genin thought with disappointment. Now then dash. Kia! Tsunade screamed as she was being held down by her hair as a blade was on her neck. Why don't you stop right there unless you want this bitch to die? Waraji ordered as he had a smirk on his face. Damn it! I let my guard down. Naruto mentally kicked himself for this. That's right, you little bastard. Stay right there and the bitch here won't get hurt. Waraji stated as he and Tsunade inched closer and closer to the door. You coward! Naruto hissed in anger at this. Out of the way or I'll kill her. Waraji ordered as he brought his blade closer to the woman's neck. Don't you dare! Kaya. Waraji let out the most girlish scream possible as he let go of his blade and the woman. Naruto stared at what he saw. What was in front of him was the thug barely able to stand as Inari had kicked him with all his strength into his balls. Don't hurt my mom! The young boy roared as he then went and kicked him again and again. This made Naruto cringe in pain as he saw that the thug didn't even scream as his eyes were already rolled back as foam was coming out of his mouth. Okay. Not what I would do, but it works, he commented with an awkward chuckle. Right in the nads though, Inari. He then added in a mutter. Once the boy gave one last kick, he stopped when he saw his mom out of harm's way. Mommy! Inari then cried out as he went and hugged his mother while the thug fell forward with a thud. Inari! Tsunade got out as she held his son tightly. Now that both thugs were out of commission, Naruto took out some ninja wire and tied the two up. Then he turned to the mother and son and let out a happy yet sad smile. Kind of jealous, he thought, but he was still happy for the two. After another moment, both mother and son separate. He did great there. The voice of the blonde got Inari's attention. Naruto. Niken? Inari got out. The said boy turned to look the woman. Tsunade-san, are you okay? Naruto asked in a concerned voice. Yes, Naruto-san. Thanks to you. Naruto smiled as he made sure his thigh and hip pouches were on tight. Good. Those two shouldn't make any more trouble for a while. I need to head to the bridge though. Someone precious to me is in danger. He gave them a wave before running out the door to go and help Kakashi and the others who were probably already fighting. Tsunade breathed a sigh of relief and Inari watched him run off. Remembering what Kakashi said, Naruto has precious people. He trains hard so he can protect them. His thoughts wandered to Tazuna and his eyes hardened. I have someone precious I need to protect too. On the bridge, Sasuke and Haku met, kunai and Senbon Needle clashing in the middle of the bridge. Zabuza stood off to one side with Kakashi, Shino, and Tazuna on the other. They had laid a trap for the bridge builder. Luckily, they still outnumbered the assassins even without Naruto. Sasuke was also making it apparent she was more than a match for Haku as they attacked and parried one another. Zabuza watched with interest. So, the little Uchiha can keep up with Haku's speed. Interesting. Kakashi looked over at Shino who was watching the battle with interest. Shino, stay with Tazuna and don't get far from me. The Aburame took position in front of Tazuna with a Konoha chakra blade raising, a gift from Naruto, as his insects began to awaken beneath the skin. He was watching the match of his female teammate and her enemy. Sasuke is strong, but she's inexperienced and hot-headed. It will be better if Naruto gets here now. Haku met Sasuke again and locked her in stalemate, speaking through gritted teeth. I don't want to have to kill you, but you won't back down, right? Sasuke smirked. What are you, stupid? Haku scoffed. You won't be ready for my next move, even if you can keep up with my speed. Sasuke pushed back against him, ignoring his taunt. You see, there is water underneath us, and I am keeping your arm busy. Haku began going through hand signs with one hand, shocking the leaf ninja. Even Kakashi couldn't believe what he was seeing. To focus chakra for a technique with just one hand is very advanced. Even I can't do it. Zabuza just smirked. This was why Haku was so useful to him. Her myriad of abilities made for being both surprising and deadly to the opponents that would face her. Secret Jutsu, 1,000 Needles of Death. Water globules rose into the air and formed into ice needles, all poised to strike Sasuke. Haku launched herself backward as the needles came crashing down while Saki remained in position, eyes closed and concentrating. Mold chakra, balance the weight, send to my legs, and she launched herself back just as the needles hit, masking her retreat. Taking advantage of it, she jumped into the air while Haku remained focused on the needle attack that was still not visible. When she could see the Uchiha avoided it, Haku looked up and watched as she threw shuriken down at her, forcing the ice user to evade backward. As she backed up, Sasuke appeared behind her with a deadly grin. "You are slow, you know that?" Haku's eyes widened under her mask and she turned to meet her attack, forcing herself to crouch as she used her kunai to slice horizontally. Having fallen for her feint, the Uchiha built up strength in her leg and kicked Haku right back to where Zabuza stood. The fake hunter Nin felt her master's annoyed gaze and quickly got back up. "You'll never win if you keep up like that, Haku. We don't have time to waste." Haku stepped forward, gathering chakra. "I understand, Zabuza-sama." Sasuke felt a chill run up her spine as the air around her began to grow cold and slabs of ice began to materialize. "Congratulations. You've forced me to use my secret technique so soon, but I'm sorry to doom you," Haku said, disappearing in the mist. Secret Jutsu, crystal ice mirrors. Haku calmly spoke. He manipulated the water around the bridge, creating giant mirrors all around her. Sasuke counted them, 12 on the ground, 8 floating above them, angled down to face the trapped mice. Finally, a last one was above them, closing them in a dome. Of course, there were spaces between the mirrors, but the Uchiha doubted Haku would let her out. Haku entered one mirror. Then, 21 mirror images of her appeared, and it could not be said which was the true one. "The ice is filled with too much chakra. I can't track her," Sasuke thought annoyingly. In the space of a breath, Haku was reflected onto all of them. "You have been trapped by my ultimate jutsu. There is no escape." The Uchiha shivered in the cold, glancing from one mirror to the next. "Let us begin." Almost immediately, Senbon were flying towards Sasuke from every direction. The raven-haired girl Scion exploded into motion, leaping, rolling, flipping. She was barely managing to stay a half step ahead of the majority of the Senbon, though quite a few had managed to graze her arms and cheek. Not stopping for a moment, Sasuke spun gracefully and arced an explosive tag-laden kunai towards one of the mirrors. Her obsidian eyes widened as Haku emerged from the mirror, grabbing the kunai and throwing it back at the shocked Uchiha. The explosion was deafening, echoing off the ice mirrors. She barely had time to recover before she was back in motion, ignoring the senbon embedded in her left calf. "This is insane. How am I supposed to fight an opponent I can't even see? I have to get out of these mirrors." Dodging another salvo of senbon, Sasuke flashed through a set of hand seals. Fire style, Dragon Flame Jutsu. A narrow stream of yellow flames hit one of the mirrors squarely, even cracking it. However, the mirror started to repair itself and was in perfect condition in moments. The dark-haired Uchiha, flipping over yet another hail of senbon, tried to make a break for one of the gaps between the mirrors, but a solid kick to the chest had her gasping fro air and tumbling back into the middle of the dome. Sasuke was on her feet in a flash, ducking more senbon. She was getting more than frustrated. Nothing seemed to be working, and she didn't have a chance to stop and think. By the time Naruto arrived in sight of the battle, it was clear that his best friend was on the losing side. While Kakashi and Zabuza skirmished with their blades, Shino could only watch from the sidelines as she was torn apart in the ice prison. His bugs had proven ineffective against dissolving the jutsu, later explained by Kakashi that it was a bloodline, a powerful jutsu that's chakra was not so easy to get rid of. Ice techniques? That person is from the Yuki clan of Kirigakure. Naruto thought, gritting his teeth. Hold on, Sasuke. He was hoping she would come up with a plan, but she had been nailed many times by the needles and was starting to slow. Sasuke deflected more needles, but another embedded itself in her thigh, making her grunt in pain and go down on one knee. She scowled. The attacks were too fast and she couldn't predict them in time. It was as if that woman was everywhere at once. Like Naruto's shadow clones, it was as if there was one Haku in each mirror throwing Senbon at her. "You are beginning to be tired. It's coming to the end." Haku taunted from her mirror, trying to goad her to surrender. If she did not finish before Naruto arrived, things would get nasty. "Shut up!" Sasuke shouted in defiance, although there was little bite behind it. There were no options left. This next barrage would take her down for sure. Haku readied her needles and aimed for non-vital spots, making sure she would be out of the fight but unharmed. As the needles released from her fingers, she felt a new familiar presence enter his ice prison's influence. Sasuke's eyes widened as she saw him stand in front of her, not believing it. "Naruto?" Naruto brought up his chakra knives and effortlessly blocked every single needle from getting anywhere close to their marks. Turning back to address the Uchiha girl, his confident smirk made her cheeks blush red. "Hey, looks like I get here just in time." Catching herself before she could blush further, Sasuke coughed to steady herself and glared at Naruto. "You idiot! You could have been a lot more help outside these mirrors than being stuck in here with me." Naruto scratched his head and chuckled. "Oh, guess I didn't think about that part." She smacked her head in annoyance to her ignorance of actual shinobi tactics. Haku lost the edge of a smile when she realized things were only going to get worse from here on out. Naruto was powerful and skilled as he could cause troubles for her master in the first time, and Sasuke was really a Uchiha prodigy. She needed to take one out of the equation. Sasuke would be that one. She was already weak from her attacks. "I just have to get around his guard by an overwhelming amount of attacks." Haku readied himself again while the two began to focus on the mirrors. Naruto's eyes tracked each, trying to find the weakness behind the technique. "Damn it! I know Yuki clan is famous with their bloodline, but I don't think it's so powerful like this." Kurama observed through his eyes and recognized the technique. Yuki clan's bloodline allows the user to manipulate ice. Looks like this girl is using mirrors to act as mediums for her body, entering them freely at high speeds. Keep your eyes on her when she attacks and try to find a pattern or some way to hit her. That's the only way you'll win. Alright, in this case. Naruto took a look at Haku and ice mirrors around them. These ice mirrors let people in, but they can't get out once they're in here. At least, that's what she wants us to think, he said quietly as he flipped through some hand signs to use his Jutsu. Fire style. Burning ash. From his mouth, he spewed out a stream of dark gray powder directly at one of the floating ice mirrors. After just a moment, he closed his mouth and brought up a lit match, flicking it at the cloud of gunpowder around an ice mirror. Then it exploded. Small shards of ice flung in every direction. But when the smoke cleared, the mirror was still mostly intact, even if it did have small cracks and scorch marks on the sides. Naruto cursed at himself for his jutsu not being strong enough to blow apart some stupid ice mirror. Impressive, really? But my mirrors are a lot sturdier than that. It'll take a lot more of those before even one of the mirrors shatter, a voice said. It almost sounded apologetic. Then it spoke again. Lay down your weapons and surrender the bridge builder to me, and I'll let you go. I do not wish to kill you. Like hell, we just abandoned the mission, Naruto shouted. Very well then. I am sorry I have to do this, but you have made your choice. Two genins were peppered with a rain of senbon, sending them to their knees. As the hail let up, Sasuke glanced from mirror to mirror. She leaned over to Naruto and whispered, I don't think she can use other jutsu or dispel genjutsu as long as he's using this. This one has to take lots of chakra. On my signal, be as quiet as possible and follow me. Naruto nodded while Sasuke flashed through a series of hand seals. Another spray of senbon was launched to stop her, but it was too late. Sasuke cast a genjutsu on the mirrors, a simple blinding genjutsu. That didn't stop her or Naruto from being hit by senbon though. Did you really think that would work? Not only do my ice mirrors sense chakra within a 5-foot radius, but you cast the genjutsu on the wrong target. You cast it on the mirrors. I jump out of the mirrors to attack you, I don't stay in them. And even if it had worked, I could still hear you anyways. It wouldn't be that simple to escape from me, the voice said once more. Sasuke cursed and let her genjutsu cancel to conserve chakra. They were running out of options. Naruto couldn't reliably use his offense jutsu without killing them too. The dome was small enough that a large explosion from anywhere on the inside would hit both Naruto and Sasuke. Not to mention the fact that the damaged ice mirror had repaired itself within seconds upon being damaged. The Uchiha herself couldn't come close to destroying the ice mirrors. Her jutsu were offensive fire jutsu, but they had more of a burning effect than a pure force and damage effect than Naruto's one ash release jutsu. Plus, the mirrors could fix themselves faster than the genin could damage them. Genjutsu didn't work, or at least not any that Sasuke knew. She didn't know any genjutsu that could hide herself and Naruto. All she knew was a blindness genjutsu and a paralysis genjutsu. Wait, paralysis genjutsu? It was almost as if a light bulb lit above Sasuke's head as she quickly cast a paralysis genjutsu on one of the floating mirrors. The one she knew repelled chakra to get something to stop moving. Everything had chakra and required chakra to move at all. Since her genjutsu repelled and froze chakra, she figured it might work on giant floating mirrors of ice. And it did. The mirror she used it on fell to the ground, shattering instantly. Naruto grinned. Nice job, Sasuke. You know how to fight a true battle. Impossible, the voice shouted. The fake hunter ninja from their second fight appeared, flinging more senbon at Sasuke. She tried her best to dodge, but one wrong jump into the air made her realize her mistake. I cannot allow you to do that, Uchiha-san, the girl spoke, throwing a handful senbons at Sasuke. Naruto's eyes widened and he tried desperately to get into position to deflect the attacks but knew he would not move in time. No, I won't let it end like this. Sasuke was twisted in the air, unable to dodge and unable to move her arms properly to block the incoming senbon. That was it. She knew she was going to die once those senbons hit her. One of them was aimed to hit her right between the eyes. Nobody could get up from something like that if they were hit by it. Sorry, she thought to herself, accepting what would come. Just as the senbons were about to hit, Naruto's body appeared in front of her. She widened her eyes as he was pushed back a bit by the attack while he grunted in pain. Haku, taken by surprise, reached out her hands to stop, but it was too late. Sasuke could only watch in horror as she saw blood oozing from his neck and onto his shoulders and back with a small trickle of it coming out of the corner of his mouth. He nearly fell to his knees, but still trying to keep himself up. Naruto, Sasuke whispered softly. He was right in front of her, dying. The only person outside of her family that she cherished so much was dying. No, her only friend was dying. Her eyes were wide with disbelief. No, this was just a bad dream. It all had to be a really, really bad dream. A nightmare, yeah, that's all. That's what she told herself. But she couldn't deny the grief whirling around inside her. The pain of her injuries became numb and all other noises quieted, stilling to a low ringing noise. The noise grew louder and louder until all she could hear was it and her pounding heartbeat. I did it, Haim-chan. Naruto smiled as he spoke quietly. No, that wasn't right. This wasn't right. This wasn't real. No. What did you do, Naruto? Sasuke couldn't stop her voice from breaking slightly halfway through her words. Her disbelief stayed, even as Naruto collapsed against her form. The Uchiha girl carefully shifted Naruto around, cradling him in her arms. No. No. Unknown to Sasuke, tears began to stream down her face. Why? Why did you protect me, you idiot? Her voice echoed off the mirrors, filled with anger and pain. She held his head in her lap in some horrible nightmare version of the usual intimacy. Even in his situation, Naruto's smile prevailed. I said that I never let my comrades die. Naruto replied as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. He coughed a little, letting more of his blood flow down his chin. Sasuke was speechless as reality crashed down around her. She looked into his eyes, tears crawling down her cheeks. Their warmth was felt by Naruto as they hit his cheeks, running down his face and down his mouth. It isn't supposed to be this way. I'm not supposed to be weak. I'm an Uchiha. She screamed, Not understanding why this had happened, Naruto tried to laugh, only coughed up more blood. I'm sorry. I know you never liked it when I would try and help, but I could never let anything happen to my precious people. He cringed in pain and Sasuke looked at him, still not getting it. Don't make that face. It doesn't suit you. His breathing was slowing, but he wasn't there yet. Stop talking. Save your strength. You're going to be fine. It's all going to be okay. I promise. But you have to stay with me. Her voice cracked in desperation, her Sharingan spinning madly. He was going to be fine. Naruto could do anything. The blonde boy gave her a small smile. His hand rubbed her head as his cerulean eyes locked onto hers. Sasuke stared at him with wide eyes as she looked at him. Naruto's eyes started to slowly dull and close. Sasuke held a shaking hand up to Naruto's cheek, while she used her other arm to pull him closer. Don't go to sleep, you idiot. You can't. I need my best friend here. Naruto, I need you here. Please don't leave me alone. It'll be fine. I'm just tired. I'll see you when I wake up, and everything will be just fine. He whispered the last part, his voice losing strength as he fell into a deep sleep. His eyes had fully closed, the bright blue eyes dimmed. Sasuke shook him, trying to get him to wake back up. It was to no avail. The attack had taken too much of a toll on Naruto's body. No, don't tell me. He can't be Dash. Naruto. Kakashi's second battle with Zabuza was nowhere near as destructive as the first. Both jounin were still weak from their encounter a few days prior, and this second contest was mainly a battle of taijutsu and weapon play. Neither shinobi had gained the upper hand, but both had landed several blows. It was only a matter of time before one of them made a fatal mistake. Naruto. Kakashi startled at that scream. It was Sasuke's. Shino heard it clearly too and had a horrible feeling in his gut, causing him to spare a glance in the direction. Something terrible was happening. Naruto. Sasuke. Sasuke hugged Naruto's lifeless body. Tears streaked freely down his cheeks. He was dead. Naruto was dead. She couldn't believe this was real. She shakily held her hands together and let out a pulse of chakra as she tried to expel some non-existent genjutsu. Release. Release. Sasuke muttered softly as she kept released pulses of her chakra. But no matter how hard she tried, the world around her didn't change. The blonde continued to lay in her lap, dead. The ice dome around her was still up and floating. Wake up, Naruto. Please, don't leave me alone. She begged softly, her voice barely more than a whisper. A piercing pain drove itself through her eyes, but she ignored it. Everything slowly became numb as reality set in. Is this the first time you've ever had a friend die? Haku asked. This is the path of a ninja. Naruto-san knew it well and still sacrificed himself. It became quiet for a moment before the anger that bubbled up inside Sasuke threatened to boil over. You! She scathingly muttered. You killed him. She clenched her fists as tears continued to pour from her eyes. He is my most precious. She looked away in anguish as if she was trying to reject reality. She continued to tremble violently. Whether it was from anger, sorrow, disbelief, or a combination of all of those, she didn't know. Her emotions as of that moment were as turbulent and tumultuous as her thoughts. Sasuke took a deep breath and silenced her tears. Crying would not avenge Naruto. She reverently placed a soft kiss upon his lips, ignoring the flecks of blood that stained them. The unbearable rage kept on filling the Uchiha girl as she laid Naruto on the ground, careful not to push any of the needles any further into his still form. It clawed its way through her chest, consuming her. She hadn't been strong enough to save Naruto, but she would be strong enough to avenge him. She stood silently, breathing deeply, reveling in the righteous anger that coursed through her body. When she opened her eyes again, she gave the fake hunter ninja a look of pure and utter hatred. Haku took one look at her eyes and felt fear. She had never seen eyes like those before. They were now black in the background, while three intersecting ellipses gave it the appearance of an arabesque flower. They seemed to radiate power and seeped fear into anyone who looked at them. Uchiha Sasuke, one of remaining people of the Uchiha clan and the youngest daughter of the Uchiha clan head, had activated her Mangekyo Sharingan. Haku felt a very strong killing intent arise from the girl. She then realized with sudden understanding that she had only made things worse. She decided not to wait and attacked her enemy. Only, as soon as she started to attack, Sasuke was already gone. She only had a moment to widen her eyes before a fist connected to her face. She skidded to the floor and looked at her attacker. "I'll kill you for what you did," Sasuke snarled in a bloodlust tone as she dropped to the ground and slowly walked up to the recently downed missing ninja. To her credit, she hadn't lost her composure and immediately went inside one of her mirrors. Not that it stopped the Uchiha from following her movements as she jumped from mirror to mirror. Had she been in a calmer mood, she would have noticed the clarity of Haku's movements were to herself. They were like slow motions. But because of the emotional turmoil Naruto's death brought to her, Sasuke could barely think anything else aside from revenge for her crush. As soon as the Uchiha saw the ice user minutely twitch in preparation to jump to another mirror, she intercepted her mid-jump and punched her to the ground once more. Meanwhile, Haku only stared at the stoic girl that was slowly walking towards her fallen form, awe-stricken by all that happened to her. Despite the violent manner she had dealt with her, she found herself entranced by the fluidity of her movements, and it was precise as well with no wasted movements. It was beautiful, and it terrified her to no end. That girl was like a goddess delivering judgment to those who had done her wrong. Kakashi and Zabuza stared down one another. The ground around them cracked from the battle they had been having. Neither was able to gain an upper hand, and only now they were taking a small breather before going at it again. As the battle had moved farther from Naruto, Sasuke, and Haku, Shino had stayed near Kakashi and did not know what had happened with the girl. "Tired, Kakashi?" The missing ninja goaded, stretching his neck. "I'm just getting started," he threw back. They were interrupted by a concentrated but intense release of chakra and a thick killing intent. Something was going wrong with Naruto, the fight between Sasuke and Haku, and whatever Kakashi thought of that, it couldn't be good. "I must hurry," the Jounin thought before charging to Zabuza. When Naruto opened his eyes, he realized that he was in somewhere. Picking himself up and looking around, he felt something familiar in here. Looked like he used to come here or saw this scene. Maybe in a book, as he read lots of books. He was at the crest of the hill he'd finally arrived at and looked out over the rolling landscape of valleys and forests towards the great furrow he could see carved into the country. The line dug into the earth was about 2 kilometers wide and stretched from one vanishing point in the distance to the next. A climate that guarantees warmth and plenty of precipitation year-round, ensuring the soil is quite capable for use in agricultural aspects, and a large amount of land. Naruto realized this place, the land of fire. Suddenly, there was a loud bang making Naruto jump. He turned back to see a dark and menacing storm quickly gathered. Winds beat against the houses with a high speed, and this furious he had never witnessed before. Whole large area was filled the darkened sky. Ancient trees were uprooted and crashed on the earth due to storm. The air produced the screaming sound. Naruto could smell the smoke too. Flames all around. The uncontrolled fire occurring in vegetation more than 6 feet in height. The burnt stench of wood slowly being reduced to ash, a hint of sulfur being carried in the smoke. These fires reached the proportions of a major conflagration and were begun by combustion and heat from surface and ground fires. And he saw, coming out of the fire and smoke, 2 figures, and they looked familiar. Looking closely, the Uzumaki could easily realize one of them was female based on her appearance. They looked at each other for a while before one person charged to the other. Hashirama, Madoka. Hashirama and Madoka. Those names, he knew them. In fact, no one in the Hidden Leaf Village, in the shinobi world, didn't know them. They were legendary shinobi. They were strongest ones in the history of the shinobi world. Famous clan heads of 2 strongest clan in the Warring Clan era. Founders of the Hidden Leaf Village. The god and goddess of shinobi. The Shodame Hokage of the Senju clan, Senju Hashirama, and the infamous matriarch of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Madoka. Realization hit the blonde boy. That scene, mountains, the waterfall, the battle. Uzumaki Naruto was in the Valley of the End. What happened? Why was he in here? No, how could be in here? He remembered he was in the Land of Wave for his mission, his first mission with his team. He encountered with demon brothers, Momochi Zabuza and Haku. He was fighting against Haku with Sasuke. Wait, where was Sasuke? And Shino, Kakashi-sensei, old man Tazuna, Haku, what the hell was happening to him? Was he dreaming? It's not really a dream. How do I say this? It's more of our memories. Suddenly, everything around Naruto went black. Then he saw himself standing in somewhere. It looked like a small garden, and standing there was a young man who was looking at him with a smile. Hello, Naruto-kun. I take it you won't know me, for I existed at the era when chakra was discovered. In fact, the first human born with chakra was my father and uncle. Naruto blinked at the young man before finally saying, "Who are you?" And, "Your father." The man nodded with a soft smile. "The sage of 6 paths, Otsutsuki Hagoromo. I'm his youngest son, Otsutsuki Ashura, and I am your ancestor from long ago." He then pointed at the blonde boy. "And you, Uzumaki Naruto, are my transmigrant." Sasuke's mind was muddled with feelings of sorrow and despair as she stared at Haku with her fists clenched tightly. The ice shinobi was slowing down, and the Uchiha had no need to dodge the needles anymore, preferring to just deflect them with her kunai. Her star-crimson eyes was focused on the masked shinobi's movements with blood running from them, waiting patiently for her moment to strike. She could tell that ninja was running out of chakra. Her attacks had become far less accurate. Haku started a particularly slow mirror transfer, and Sasuke struck, her dark hair billowing behind her. Sasuke leaped into the air, perfectly timing a devastating kick that sent Haku careening down to the bridge's surface. Haku landed heavily, immediately rising and desperately stumbling towards the nearest mirror, only to be cut off by the furious Uchiha. Standing between Haku and her precious mirror, she delivered a series of punishing blows, finishing the combination with an axe kick that drove the enemy ninja to her hands and knees. All fight left drained from Haku's body, and Sasuke let her crumple to the ground. The raven-haired girl stood over her, glaring down at her opponent. She reached down and roughly tore the mask from the girl's head. She wanted to look into the bitch's eyes when she exacted her vengeance. Just one blow, the final blow. Vengeance would be taken, justice would be delivered, and all would be right in the world again. "I have failed you, Zabuza-sama," Haku said before turning her gaze towards the enraged Uchiha. "Please, kill me. I no longer have a purpose." Her eyes filled with tears and regrets. "Gladly," Sasuke snarled as she jumped and flashed through a few familiar signs. Haku's eyes closed, waiting her death. Fire style. Great fireball jutsu. Sasuke breathed a big fireball at her. Haku would be surely incinerated by it and died painfully. "I'm sorry, Zabuza-sama. Please forgive me, Naruto-san." Water style. Water wall jutsu. At that time, the water beneath Haku and began to shoot upwards, forming a thick wall which was in front of her. The fireball crashed into the water wall. Water was naturally stronger than fire, so Sasuke's deadly assault was immediately neutralized. "Phew, it's so close." A voice came from Haku's place and Sasuke widened her eyes. She stepped closer and took another glance at. A familiar blonde head flickered as the water wall slowed down. The Uchiha rubbed her eyes, to be certain all which she saw wasn't her imaginations. Naru, too," she stammered. Tears started to trickle down her face once more. "In the flesh and bone." He smiled broadly. "I won't die until I'm the best shinobi in the world you can dash." He groaned quietly in pain and looked down to see what had tackled him, only to see Sasuke holding on to him. She hugged him tightly, not wanting to let go. The blonde was confused at first, but then he wrapped his arms around her. Sasuke buried her face in his chest with a trembling body, and Naruto's shirt was getting soaked from her tears. "I thought you died," Sasuke whispered. She sounded broken. "Come on. I'm alive," Naruto whispered. He had on hand rubbing her back affectionately, while the other was running through her silky raven locks. He put his chin over her head and pulled her close to him. "I saw you die in my arms. Sorry, you scared me. I'm so sorry. I thought I had lost you, that I would be all alone again. Please don't do it again. I need you so much. So don't do anything like that again," she said in between hiccups. He cooed her and kept holding her. Shoo, I'm alive right now, right? I am not that easy to kill, you know. Those little needles won't kill me. At the very least, a blast enough to level IWA would be needed to take me down and away from you, he said playfully. She giggled and punched him in the chest playfully. Dobe, she whispered. Heim, he replied, and both chuckled. After calming herself down, Sasuke looked her best friend or crush seriously. How can you be alive? Whatever you said, I saw your wounds, all of them was deadly injuries. So, why? Naruto became nervous. Well, I will let you know after we're done, he said before turning to Haku. Haku, are you all right? Why? Why did you save me, Naruto-san? Aren't we enemy? I also nearly killed you, she whispered. Naruto looked her, then he gave Haku a beaming smile. You know, there are many reasons why everyone kill each other, but do you really need a reason to save others? Haku stared at her savior. This was the first time she had ever met someone such as that boy. Everyone knew the world of shinobi was cruel and terrible. You had to do anything to exist. Shinobi was just a tool. They just killed, slaughtered, follow orders, and was emotionless. Needless emotions just interrupted our works and even caused them cost their life. They should just care about themselves, their missions, and their master. But that boy, Haku, knew that he was nice. He was so special. He was a shinobi, but he still thought for others. He didn't care that Haku was his enemy and nearly killed them. He still saved her. Haku, listen, it's not necessary to fight against each other anymore. We can stop and talk. I swear I won't do anything to Zabuza. I'm going to him and Kakashi to stop their fighting, Naruto said softly. As long as Zabuza-sama was safe, there won't be a problem. Haku smiled. Before the blonde could respond, well, isn't this a great sight to see? Everyone here at their weakest point. This must be my lucky day. The voice of a man suddenly said as the sound of a cane tapping and distant laughing on the bridge lured everyone's eyes to the end of the unfinished bridge to see a light brown-haired short person in a business outfit with dark glasses. Behind the short man were a large amount of armed, cocky-looking mercenaries as they chuckled and grinned among themselves. Who? Sasuke started. Haku gritted her teeth as she saw the man. Gatu, she hissed out. He betrays us, she thought with anger, annoyance, and then she was unconscious. The two high-level shinobis had turned and also saw Gatu and his small army of thugs. I should know it, Zabuza growled out. What the hell are you doing here, Gatu? He called out with an annoyed and angry tone. Kakashi then narrowed his eyes as he looked at the short man. So that's Gatu? He muttered. Gatu, however, snorted in response to the question. I'm tired of waiting for you to get the damn job done, you pathetic baby demon. He explained with a nod his head towards the giant mob behind him. This made all the men chuckle as if it was humorous. That's why I have these guys here behind me. I wasn't really going to pay you anyways. You were way too expensive, Gatu stated as he turned back to the two jounin. Now that all of you are tired, I can just sit back and watch as you both die. Those Konoha ninjas and the old drunk gets what's coming to him, he declared as he began to smirk some more. Zabuza's eyes narrowed as his worst fear came to be. Then he let out a sigh. Well, Kakashi, it seems I'm out of a job. I have no reason to fight you or to kill the bridge builder, he declared, and Kakashi nodded. You will die today for betraying me, Gatu, Zabuza snarled. Oh, Gatu smirked. By you and what army? An arrow stabbing the ground right in front of his face answered him. How about this army? A voice echoed in the air from the other side of the bridge. Gatu looked up and broke into sweat when seeing all citizens in the land of waves, with Inari and the children who were helped by Naruto, leading, standing there, weapons ready. Naruto managed to keep from insulting Inari by remarking upon the fact that the boy was wearing a wok-pan for a helmet, and instead just flashed the kid a thumbs up. Nice timing, Inari, hehe. A hero shows up at the last second, right? Inari said with a grin. Naruto shook his head in amusement. All right, let's help out increasing the numbers, Naruto said, putting his hands in a cross seal. Shadow clone jutsu. In a poof of smoke, the entire bridge was filled with about 40 Naruto's clones, all of them grinning brightly at the now terrified thugs. Kakashi did the same, creating 15 clones. Thugs immediately turned around and ran back to the ship that had carried them there, some of them even jumping into the water out of fear. There was only Gatu in front of them. His arrogant smirk dropped like a rock and he was sweating bullets. Anyways, the voice of Zabuza suddenly rose next to his ears. Who said that I need help to kill a bastard like you? Gatu. Gatu looked like he had just pissed himself. Please don't kill me, he whimpered. Too bad, Zabuza said, and with a swing of his sword, Gatu became a dead body without its head. Team 7 and everyone else sweat dropped. So, our work here is done? Naruto asked. Yeah. Kakashi nodded. He reached his headband, pulled it down to cover his Sharingan up. Victory! Inari yelled and all the villagers celebrated. Mission completed. Haku's eyes fluttered open. The first thing she knew was that she was facing a wooden ceiling, and that she was lying on a soft, comfortable bed. And after realizing that, the first thing she wanted to do was to fall into her blissful slumber again. It was too long since the last time she slept on a bed. It was much, much more comfortable than the sleeping bag she usually used during her constant travel with Zabuza-sama. Zabuza-sama! Everything rushed back into her head with the might of a hammer blow. She remembered the fight on the bridge, when she had been forced to use her most powerful jutsu, and the blonde shinobi from Konoha took her attack for the girl, and then he saved him from the wrath of that girl. Haku bolted upright and looked around. She was in a small bedroom. Wooden walls. Small desk at the corner. Naruto-kun sitting on a chair next to the bed. Electric light bulbs on the ceiling. Wait, Naruto. Ah, Haku, you're awake. The one-eye blonde said in happy voice. Yes. Naruto. Eep! She yelped, unconsciously pulling the blanket covering her body up, muffling her voice in the process. Despite being a powerful ninja, Haku was still a girl. And having a boy in her bedroom, well, not quite her bedroom anyway, looking at her sleeping face. Haku's face burned up dangerously, and she opened her mouth, ready to scream, only for a hand of Naruto muffling her before any sound could come out. SHHHHHH! Naruto exclaimed in panic. Don't scream. Do you want Zabuza to castrate me? He has been trying to do that for a while after I said I would look after you when you slept, and that if Sasuke didn't kill me first. Naruto sweat dropped when he recalled the Uchiha's thundered expression. I swear she looked ready to tear me pieces as she glared at me with her Sharingan. It's terrifying. Wait! Haku's eyes widened. Zabuza-sama is still alive? Of course. Naruto gave her a foxy grin. And he seemed to be quite worried about you, Haku. The embarrassment was quickly replaced by a smile of relief and happiness. Thank goodness. Haku sighed. Then she remembered. Wait, Naruto-kun, where am I? You're in Tazuna's house, Naruto answered. Gatu was dead, and you probably won't want to go back to his place anyway. I see. Haku looked down. Naruto-kun, alright, you don't need to tell anything, Haku. Naruto smiled softly. You just know that we are not enemy anymore. Now we're friends. But I don't deserve to be your friend. She voiced her thought unconsciously. Kaya. Her voice was cut off abruptly by Naruto wrapping his arm around her waist. Silly Haku, he grinned foxily. I don't care whether you deserve to be my friend or not. The only thing I know is that I want you to be my friend, and that's enough for me to accept you. Now, stop moping around and come downstairs to eat. Everyone's waiting. Then he dragged her out of the bed, despite the poor girl's frantic struggling. That night, after dinner, overcome by weariness from helping Tazuna and he just recovered, Kakashi decided that Naruto should get some rest. The blonde nodded, then went to his room, got into his bed and closed his eyes. Zabuza and Haku shared a room. After helping Tsunade to wash dishes, the Jounin was going to enter the room he shared with Naruto. Sasuke caught his wrist and stared at him. Let us share the room for tonight. I want something answered to me alone and want the answers now. You can share the room with Shino for tonight, she said. Kakashi nodded and stepped back. The Jounin could felt her shaking voice, even for a moment. He knew the girl was still affected by the accident before. Her best friend and crush had nearly died in front of her. It was no wonder that she wanted to stay close to him. But Kakashi wasn't going to miss his chance of teasing his cute little genin. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, Sasuke-chan, he sing-sang, and she twitched. No one would do half the things you would do with all that smut you keep reading. That's why you don't get a girl and have to read the book, you lazy-ass pervert. She growled. Kakashi, I smiled. True, but you don't have to be that hostile to your sensei. A little respect sometimes would be nice, you know, he said. It would, wouldn't it? The Uchiha asked and stepped in. Kakashi's sweat dropped. He wasn't going to respect it anytime soon. He entered the room which he had to share with Shino and no sign of anyone. Huh? Where does he go? Sasuke stepped inside and saw Naruto laying down on the futon. She sighed. What would she do? That idiot was too worried about that Kiri girl to be up all night. The raven-haired girl mentally fumed whenever she thought about it. He had been just bad injured on the battle but still tried to look after Haku without caring for his own health. Why didn't he let the tsunami woman, Kakashi, or Zabuza do that? Why did he take care of her himself while that girl had nearly killed him? She was not worthy of his kindness. That idiot should have let Sasuke burn her alive on the bridge. Sasuke shook his head furiously. No, never again. She knew how kind Naruto was. He was too nice to take someone's life. He had never purposely killed someone unless he didn't have a choice, so no way he would let her to do that. Sasuke didn't want to upset him because of that. That was who he was after all. That was Uzumaki Naruto she knew and loved with all her heart. You're really an idiot, she whispered. I know, so you don't have to say it. Sasuke startled as she heard his familiar voice. Naruto soon sensed the presence of someone, and he knew that was the last Uchiha when he heard her voice. He got up and looked his best friend. I suppose you want some answers, don't you? She nodded. So what did you want to ask? He whispered. What happened at that time? I determined that your heart and pulse stopped. How can you be alive? She asked, and Naruto sighed. He knew this was coming. Kurama remained quiet as it was Naruto's decision. It's your choice, kid. Hope it's something he'll won't regret later on. He thought to himself. Okay. But before I explain, I want you to know that what I'm going to say to you is top secret S-Rank 1. The Hokage put a gagging order on the village. No one is allowed to tell anything about it without his permission, or they will be executed because of breaking the village's law. So you must not disclose anything to anyone after you hear it. Are you clear? He said sternly, looking at his expression. Sasuke knew that Naruto wasn't joking or anything. He was actually serious. What was those? Why were they so important that the Sandaime Hokage didn't allow anyone to reveal? Yeah, I see. I promise I won't tell anyone anything, she assured. Naruto smiled softly. All right, so he suddenly sensed someone at the door, then smiled slightly when he knew who was that. You know you don't need to be out there to overhear. Come in, Shino. Sasuke widened her eyes and turned to the door. The Aburame boy was really standing at the door. Hello, Naruto. How are you? Shino asked with a hint of concern. Naruto smiled. I'm fine, thanks for asking. Shino nodded. Then he stepped into and closing the door. Shino and Sasuke sat on the bed. The young Uchiha looked at Naruto. Well, Naruto, I know. Naruto took a deep breath. Sasuke, after this you can hate or disgust me something, but just know that I'll be always there for you whenever you need me. Okay? Sasuke was a little surprised by that. What's his secret that was so important that he made that expression? Whatever it is, I'll never hate you, Naruto. After all, you're my best friend. You just saved me from death and I nearly lost you. No way I can leave you after that. She thought but nodded at this, waiting for an answer. Just tell her. She won't hate you. In fact, I doubt about this stuff. Naruto just nodded again to Kurama's words. All right. How much do you know about the Nine Tails? Kyuubi, the Nine Tails? Not much, except that he was killed by the Yondaime Hokage. Naruto chuckled lightly at this. Sasuke, the tailed beasts can't be killed. Even the weakest, the Ichibi. Defeated yes, killed no. So when the Kyuubi attacked, the Yondaime decided to do the next best thing. He decided to seal it at the cost of his own life, sealing it into a newborn baby. He explained, sealing the Kyuubi into a baby? But what does this have to do with you? Sasuke widened her eyes as realization hit her. The Kyuubi's attack had happened on the October 10th, and Naruto's birthday was… No way, why you? Yeah, Sasuke, that baby is me, Naruto replied, lifting up the shirt and showed the sealing drawing on his stomach. I am the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, Kyubi no Yuko, and the reason why I can survive after Haku's deadly jutsu. It's because his chakra healed me. Sasuke was truly baffled and stupefied by learning this while Shino remained quiet. The young Uchiha didn't notice this. Shino, you know this, didn't you? You weren't surprised as you hear it, she accused the bug boy. Shino nodded. Yeah, I knew before you, Sasuke, but don't take this the wrong way, he said as he noticed the girl was thinking Naruto didn't trust her enough to tell her his secrets. Naruto didn't tell me anything. My insects felt his chakra. It's so different from a shinobi's normal chakra, and plus the fact he had so much chakra, so it's not difficult for me to guess he has something special. Shino explained, and he caught the grateful look from the blonde shinobi. He just shrugged instead his no-problem reply. I see. The Uchiha said quietly. Wait a minute, so that's reason why majority of the villagers hate you? She asked, and the blonde boy nodded. Sadly, yeah. Except some clan heads and shinobi, most of civilians and shinobi who lost their family resent me. In their eyes, I'm a murderer. I'm the demon who destroyed the village and took thousands of lives 12 years ago, he said with a sorrowful smile. Sasuke, now you knew the truth. I know some Uchiha died in the attack, so if you hate me, I can understand. Naruto didn't finish his words as the girl pulled him and threw her own arms around his neck, burying her face against the crook of her teammate's neck. He was stunned. Sasuke, what are you do? Enough. Sasuke spoke out, interrupting him. Ha! Enough, Naruto. It is unnecessary to say anything, she said, her voice shaking a little. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've never noticed you're carrying heavy burdens and I still get you in my trouble. Naruto could felt tears sliding down his skin. She is crying. Again. Naruto thought confusingly, but he said nothing, just silently hugging her back. Why? Why didn't you tell me? She asked, her grip tightened. Damn it. Naruto, you should tell me sooner. Naruto just sighed. Sasuke, I'm sorry. I'm just afraid that you don't want to be my friend. It's not like that I don't trust you, but my overwhelming fear from the past always haunts me and I couldn't bring myself to tell you, he said sadly. I don't want to lost my best friend. HN, you stupid dope, the girl huffed. Why did you think that? You forget who I am? I'm Uchiha Sasuke, one of the top students in the Ninja Academy and is the Rookie of the Year. I know the difference between a kunai and a scroll. No way I will think of you any differently. You are still the dope to me. She looked up into his blue eyes, her hand putting on his cheeks. Don't listen to what those idiotic villagers said to you. You're not demon. Naruto looked her gratefully. She really didn't hate him. She didn't leave him in the same way everyone did after they knew that he was a Jinchuriki. Naruto smiled. I'm both surprised and really happy that you defend me, he commented with a brighter tone. Most would have given up completely on me after learning about the whole Kyubi being sealed inside of me. Just because you got some stupid fox demon sealed inside of you doesn't mean I'm gonna hate you. The dobe is just the dobe, nothing more, nothing less, she explained, smirking arrogantly. Oh, screw you too, Uchiha. The demon fox responded in fury as he felt insulted, but wasn't heard. Naruto could only chuckle a little at that. Thanks, Haim-chan. And I'm sure he is pretty stupid. Huh. He said with gratitude as he began to chuckle some more. If I was out of this damned seal, I'd kicked all of your sorry asses. Kurama roared his declaration. Anyway, Shino suddenly spoke out. Now we know about your secret, Naruto, and I understand the reason why Hokage-sama wants to keep it secret. However, there is one thing which I still wonder. And why is you, Naruto? Surely there can be many other people he could use to contain the beast for him. Why used a baby who had just been born? Sasuke turned to Naruto, looked him confusingly. In fact, she was wondering that. What was special in Naruto that the yondaime had to seal the beast into him but not others? He was powerful, she admitted, but this was a tailed beast they were talking about. For that, I don't really know. Naruto answered sincerely. Maybe because I was an orphan, I was chosen to be used, or from the moment I was born, I was doomed to a life of loneliness. But whatever it is, I don't blame the yondaime. He was the Hokage and he had the obligation to protect his village as a leader at all cost. I don't blame villagers for their behavior. The loss of loved ones is so much for them. he said in a solemn tone. Inside of the seal, Kurama said nothing as he just sighed with his momentary feelings. Shino said nothing. In his mind, he admired Naruto's compassion and generosity. Almost nobody was nice enough to have the look such as Naruto's if they were in his case. This, however, made the boy feel displeased. Naruto should have thought about himself a little. He was so forgiving. Sasuke felt annoyed when she listened to what her teammate told. The Uchiha even felt like she could go to Konoha now and level it to the ground with how angry she was. How dare they treat Naruto like that? He had been just a baby. It wasn't his fault. He didn't even get to choose. She was furious with the Yondaime Hokage when he had done that to a child and made this poor boy's life miserable since the day he was born. Wait, you did said some clan heads and shinobi don't hate you. Okasan and Wanichan are surely two of them, so it means they know about the Kyuubi. Naruto nodded. Mikoto Obasan was Jounin at that time and Izuminichin is one of Anbu who guarded me. Most of clans in Konoha joined in defending the village at that time. Of course they will know. He replied, then looking at the girl seriously. You know the rule of the Sandaime Hokage? Mikoto Obasan and Izuminichin can't tell you anything unless Gigi allows them. Sasuke nodded, knowing that he was right. All right, I think those are all what we can know until now. Shino said flatly. It's late. I suggest you two should sleep, especially Naruto. You really pushed too hard. And he left the room, leaving Naruto and Sasuke behind. Both stayed silent for a few moments before Sasuke spoke up. In the battle, my Sharingan changed, she said, pushing chakra to her eyes until they morphed into the new form. Damn! Kurama swore as he saw the girl's eyes. Meanwhile, Naruto looked at them in awe. So you awakened the highest level of the Sharingan. Congratulations, he said, and Sasuke stayed silent. Naruto was confused as to why she wasn't happy. Naruto, do you know how an Uchiha can awake Manjikyu Sharingan? She asked distastefully. Naruto gulped. Oh no, he nearly forgot it. Sasuke. Naruto couldn't complete his words as she hugged him and Naruto felt his shirt get wet again. She was crying silently. Wanichan told me it activated once its user experiences great loss, especially of someone close to them. She mumbled in a shaky voice, the pain and anguish of seeing your death due to my weakness forced them to awaken. The Uchiha whispered. Naruto rubbed her back affectionately, and she was trying to calm her down. He should have known it. This was the second time. The first time it was fake, but this time Naruto could have died if it weren't for Kurama. He was himself guilty for making her like that again. I'm so sorry because I worry you so much. I don't think everything became like that. He whispered softly. I just don't want you to be hurt. And you think I would want to see you get hurt for me? Sasuke asked quietly. Naruto, you've done so much for me. You shouldn't have gone so far as to ready to give your life for me because you don't need to do. Naruto shook his head. Don't say that, Sasuke, or I will be sad, he said in a serious voice. I don't regret my decision to save you. If we are in the same situation again, I will do what I want to do without hesitation. He then looked straight her eyes. You see, Zabuza and Haku, both of them were considered demons by their village. They had no worth nor kind people who would smile for them. Their only worth was in their skills and Haku was hunted for that too. But, paused a little, he continued, they are lucky to at least have each other. I can understand their need to protect each other or even die for their precious people. The raven-haired girl turned her stunned eyes on him completely and Naruto smiled sincerely. Mikoto Obasan, Izuminichin, Irika-sensei, Hokage Gigi, my friends in Academy, Team 7, I would give anything to save you guys, to protect you guys, even my dream and life. That might not sound like much coming from me, but it's still the truth. Believe it. They remained silent for a while before Sasuke, whose dark bangs were now hiding her eyes from sight, spoke up. You're really an idiot because you tell those without thinking about the consequences. She then looked up, a warm, genuine smile spread over her face. But at any rate, she wrapped her arms around him and hugged him tightly. Thank you so much, Dobe, she said in a gentle voice. Thank you for saving me, for always helping me with my troubles and for being at my side each day. And closed her eyes. She slept. Naruto was a bit unexpected, but he still held her in his arms. Naruto's heart was racing when he felt her soft skin and warmth as she hugged him, and he didn't really want her to let him go. He didn't know the reason why, but he found a little piece of happiness with her words. It made him feel cherished and consoled. Naruto smiled slightly when he felt Sasuke nuzzle herself into a more comfortable position. He gently ran his fingers through her hair and soon too fell asleep, letting the exhaustion for the day take over him. Kurama just sighed as he silently watched two sleeping teens, especially Sasuke. Great, now the Uchiha brat awakened the higher level of her bloodline. Everything would be more complicated. Or interesting, he thought. Kurama would never told it, but he, however, felt gratitude for her presence in Naruto's life. He knew he wouldn't be enough for Naruto to stop feeling lonely, but he knew Sasuke would be more than enough. It would seem that their bond might survive. Perhaps Naruto was right. Sasuke and her family really were different from the rest of her clan before. No, maybe not an arrogant clan anymore. With Uchiha Mikoto was the clan head. Perhaps Uchiha Sasuke would be more resolute and loyal to that wonderful bond. After all, their story was only starting.